Chapter 351. Jing Yunjiao hadn't stopped writing since she started, but now she had suddenly quieted down. Everyone was curious. Could it be that she couldn't write anymore? Inexplicably, everyone was looking forward to seeing what Jing Yunjiao had written on the paper. Sun Yan's hand trembled as her mind wandered. At this moment, Ji Shanshan was about to explode. Why did she stop? Hurry up and write. It's not time yet. I think she's done, right? Tong Yin said uncertainly. Jing Yunjiao put down the pen and put the pen cap back on. She tidied up the things in her hands, then sat upright in front of the table. She was very quiet, and she didn't look around. She even looked a little relaxed as she waited leisurely. Her attitude made it even more difficult for the others to judge. A minute passed quickly, but it was torture for Sun Yin. The December weather was a little cold, and she was nervous, so her hands were a little clumsy. Suddenly, a whistle sounded, scaring Sun Yin and causing her pen to fall to the ground. A moment of panic flashed across her face before it returned to its original state. Compared to Jing Yunjiao's attitude, her attitude had fallen, and the difference was so great that it couldn't even be compared to Jing Yunjiao. The contrast between the two girls was very obvious. Sun Yan's appearance was not bad, but at this moment, in front of Jing Yunjiao, she was overshadowed. Even her temperament was quite different. Although Jing Yunjiao was young, she was tall and had a magnanimous face. Her expression was generous, and her gaze was firm. Sun Yan, on the other hand, had put on light makeup. She was beautiful, but when she stood too close to Jing Yunjiao, she seemed a little vulgar. Moreover, her panic just now had clearly reduced her temperament. When the time came, the paper on the two's table was taken out and pasted on the panel in front of the judges. Everyone looked at it together. Next to them, there was a person in charge of reading the original book. Jing Yunjiao's handwriting was handsome and vigorous. It didn't look like it was written by a woman, but it was more delicate than rough, and people couldn't help but take a few more glances. Amomum amomum, Ceralia ceralia, Radix latifolia, 1,000 gold seed, fragrant incense, black medicine, thunder pill, sulfur, sparrow egg, swallow's nest. At the side, someone had already started reading. Following the voice, everyone stared at the two's words. In front of the panel, there was a person in charge of marking the words to ensure that there were no mistakes. The herbs at the beginning was naturally correct. Everyone had thought that Sun Yan's ability was not bad, but they didn't expect Jing Yunjiao's words. So it turned out that she wasn't just randomly writing from memory. After wasting 2 minutes, she was still able to calmly write out something so accurate. It was really rare. Moreover, if they remembered correctly, when she was reciting, Jing Yunjiao's speed was also extremely fast. White wax, lizard, black snake, graveyard snake, purple flower, jade hairpin root. 2. Miss Sun is wrong, he added. Everyone was disappointed, but after thinking about it carefully, they felt that it was not surprising. Black snake and purple flower had similar words, so it was easy to put them together. It was common to lose a herb in the middle that was not easy to remember. There would definitely be no mistakes. In other words, the probability of making a mistake was definitely lower than Jing Yunjiao's. Chapter 352. Many people cast comforting glances at Sun Yan. Sun Yan's complexion improved slightly, and she returned a smile. Fairy foam, Jindiluo, centipede, green fish gallbladder, gallnut, zhangzhu, tangerine pear, essence brightness powder, 100 herb frost. The people next to her didn't care too much and continued reading. However, the more she read, the more difficult it became. There was no order in the order of the herbs. After 2 minutes, the person standing next to Sun Yan's answer sheet spoke again. She lost 2 more herbs, and the order is wrong. What about Jing Yunjiao? Someone asked directly. All correct. The judges were also very helpless. Compared to Jing Yunjiao, who came out of nowhere, they naturally favored Sun Yan, who had the strength and the future. They wanted to help her, but although she didn't make many mistakes, Jing Yunjiao didn't make any at all. Sun Yan's face was ashen. There were still dozens of herbs left. Everyone could see that Sun Yan's chances of making mistakes increased as she read. Moreover, her handwriting could be said to be very messy, with some scratches and scratches. It was very messy and didn't look very clear. In contrast, Jing Yunjiao's handwriting looked as if it was engraved on the top. It was neat and tidy, and looking at it was a pleasure. The handwriting was like the person. Jing Yunjiao's handwriting was very similar to her, very cold. Not long after, it was completely over. Still, no one on Jing Yunjiao's side pointed out any mistakes, while Sun Yin made about 10 or so mistakes. In fact, although this error rate was higher than Jing Yunjiao's, it was still considered very good. After all, she only had 5 minutes to memorize. Some people might not even be able to memorize the first 10 herbs after such a long time. Jing Yunjiao wins the first round. Does anyone have any questions? A judge asked. The others could only nod. What questions were there? They were all correct. Even if they wanted to nitpick, they couldn't find any flaws. Moreover, even if they did, it wouldn't be as bad as Sun Yan's. Sun Yin bit her lip and squeezed out a smile. Jing Yunjiao, I didn't expect your memory to be so good. No wonder your results are so good. Has Miss Sun never been to school? Even though having a good memory can affect your studies, it's not a decisive factor. Jing Yunjiao also smiled, but her voice was cold as she replied. Other than memory, understanding is also very important, right? Every time she got first place, she didn't just rely on memorizing things. She couldn't even count the number of papers she had done and questions she had read. Sun Yin felt depressed. I might have to go all out in the following matches, so I won't go easy on you. You have to work hard too, Sun Yin said. Jing Yunjiao smirked. So you didn't use your full strength just now? All right then, let's have a rematch. I don't want my victory to be unreal. Miss Sun, it's better to be honest. A win is a win, and a loss is a loss. Don't always find reasons for yourself. Just now, you didn't look like you were going easy on me. Although Jing Yunjiao didn't like to talk much, he had never been at a disadvantage when it was necessary to use his poisonous tongue. She didn't want to be a good-for-nothing. She didn't want to be provoked word by word, but she could only lower her head in silence. Sun Yin immediately felt embarrassed. She had indeed used her full strength. After all, this was related to the ginseng. How could she go easy on Jing Yunjiao? She only said that to save face. She had long since gotten used to this way of speaking. Jing Yunjiao, do you have to be so aggressive? I begged a lot of people for you, Sun Yin said with a sad expression. Chapter 353. Sun Yin was naturally talking about the fundraising for Jing Yunjiao. In fact, she had only heard about Jing Yunjiao by chance, and it was all because of Ji Shanshan. At that time, Ji Shanshan was infected by the deeds on the internet and pestered her parents to donate some medicinal herbs. Later, she went to Cui Jun and kept talking about how pitiful Jing Yunjiao was in front of him. Cui Jun was very patient, and naturally, the news reached her ears. She didn't care about it at first. After all, she was just an irrelevant person. However, there was a Person of the Year contest on the school forum. Although there was no monetary reward, the person who was selected could be invited to a high-end place to play. It wasn't a school activity, but a few rich second-generation students. Although she didn't lack food and clothing in the Cui family, she wasn't considered superior. Although the Cui family was rich, they couldn't compare with those businessmen in terms of financial resources. Therefore, she wanted to get in touch with the upper class and see what their lives were like. If she wanted to be selected, she naturally had to have a gimmick. There were many beauties in the school, and the competition was fierce. She thought of a way, and that was to organize people to donate money to Jing Yunjiao and raise a kind name. Many people knew that she had caused a lot of trouble at that time, and that was why she was able to attract attention. If Jing Yunjiao wasn't useful in the first place, she naturally wouldn't be so kind to her. Now, Jing Yunjiao glanced at her, and a trace of disdain flashed in her eyes. There are a lot of people who wanted to help me, but in the end, none of them succeeded. You're the first one who didn't succeed and still flaunted your achievements in front of me. Miss Sun, I know that you're compassionate and willing to help others, but you don't have to emphasize it again and again, Jing Yunjiao said before changing the topic. The second round should be starting soon, right? If you are convinced by the first round's results, then let's continue. I have already won one round, so even if you forfeit now, I will still win. You will have to get out of my sight as promised. After Jing Yunjiao finished speaking, She turned around and put away the piece of paper she had just written on. She had practiced calligraphy for a long time in her previous life and participated in many competitions. Later, she kept practicing in prison. She didn't get these things for free. She had worked hard and risked her life. Sun Yan's lips trembled slightly. Let's continue. It was already a little late, so the surrounding area was lit up like it was daytime. Under the lights, Jing Yunzhao's attitude was calm and incomparably dazzling. The judges also took their seats and continued. The second round is about recognizing herbs and discussing medicinal properties. It's still a written test. After the judges finished speaking, the long table in front of them was filled with medicinal herbs. Some of them were very fresh, some were dry, and some were not medicinal herbs, but other parts of medicinal herbs. One had to be able to distinguish them. Some medicinal herbs were based on their roots, but those who truly understood medicinal herbs could tell what kind of medicine it belonged to just by looking at its buds or smelling its scent. They could even tell its medicinal properties. This round was a test of one's ability and knowledge. If Zhang Xian only relied on reading and memorizing, it was impossible for him to win. Sun Yin finally regained some confidence. She often went in and out of the Cui family's medicine warehouse, and sometimes helped the Cui family to process the herbs, so recognizing the medicine was very easy for her. As for the medicinal properties, it was also not difficult for her. The two of them started writing again. Jing Yunzhao's attitude was serious, as if she was immersed in her own world. Every medicinal herb was carefully examined, smelled, and identified. Then, she waved her hand on the paper. Chapter 354. Looking at Jing Yunzhao's appearance, some people began to hesitate. This Jing Yunzhao doesn't look like a novice. You can tell when you look at her herbs. She knows which herbs are easy to distinguish and which ones need to be tasted to distinguish. Jing Yunzhao didn't even put the poisonous herbs in her mouth. As for the ones with questionable taste, she covered her nose and lowered her head to examine them. Another thing was that when different herbs were combined together, they could produce unimaginable effects, or they could affect the medicinal properties of the herbs. Jing Yunzhao understood this principle very well. Every time she finished looking at a herb, she would wash her hands whenever she touched it. This was to prevent her hands from being stained with the smell of the herb and affecting the rest. In short, Jing Yunzhao did a better job than Sun Yin when it came to the details. Some people who originally thought Jing Yunzhao couldn't win changed their minds. Cui Jun and his son's expressions also became serious. They couldn't lose. They couldn't afford to lose. Cui Jun was the only son in the Cui family. If he couldn't become a master pharmacist, it would be a joke. All of their hopes were placed on Sun Yin. They even began to regret it, but it was too late. Time passed quickly. In the blink of an eye, the second round was over. This time, the papers in their hands were densely packed. However, Jing Yunzhao's paper was still much more pleasing to the eye. However, with the lesson from last time, Sun Yin paid more attention to her appearance. She didn't simply scribble. She only made a note of the mistakes. Because of this, the mistakes were very clear. The previous competitions that Sun Yin participated in were much simpler than this one. At the very least, the herbs weren't so complicated. Therefore, among her peers, she was bound to win. However, this time was different. The Phaedra, Changshan, Grasgentian, these are all correct. Father Ji nodded and said, these were all relatively simple. Some of the basic ones couldn't be wrong. As for the medicinal properties, the two of them wrote down very comprehensively. However, when they looked at the end, everyone's expressions became more solemn. After seeing Jing Yunzhao's performance in the first round, the ingredients at the end were all suddenly added in, purposely increasing the difficulty to avoid a situation where both of them answered correctly and ended up in a tie. One says it's Dongbi soil, while the other says it's Wuba soil. That's a huge difference, Father Ji muttered. This is Dongbi soil. It's the soil on the eastern wall of a building. But now it's common to see cement walls, so it's not common. Medicinal properties: sweet, warm, non-toxic. It's mainly used to detoxify, remove yellow, reduce swelling, and disinfect. Sun Yin, you only wrote Dongbi soil here. You didn't write its medicinal properties. And this is not Dongbi soil. Another person said. Sun Yin was taken aback. How could it be so easy to distinguish between these dusty things? She was not an experienced master, so it was normal for her to make mistakes. Who asked their questions to be so difficult? Is that Wuba mud? I've never heard of it, Sun Yin asked nervously. If Jing Yunjiao got it right, it would be difficult for her to make a comeback even if she got the medicinal herbs right. That's right. It's also called children's tea. It's normal that you don't know about it because it's mainly produced in Nanyunyun City. The fine tea powder is put into a bamboo tube, tightly stuffed at both ends, and buried in a ditch. After a long time, it's extracted and boiled. An old man continued to explain. When he finished, he didn't forget to point at Jing Yunjiao's writing. It's completely correct. This Wuba mud is bitter, flat, and non-toxic. It's really rare for someone as young as you to recognize this. Sun Yin felt like she was struck by lightning. Jing Yunjiao was right. Chapter 355. Sun Yin was stunned. Her beautiful face was full of surprise and fear. At this moment, it wasn't just her. Even the others were feeling a little emotional. After all, if it was said that in the first round, Jing Yunjiao's memory wasn't bad and it was a fluke, then in this round, there was no doubt about her true strength. Not to mention the first few herbs, most of the latter ones were not common, and few people could identify them. However, Jing Yunjiao recognized all of them and even wrote down their medicinal properties. If she didn't have a certain level of knowledge, it would be impossible to do so. What's more, many of the herbs looked very similar to each other. Even an old man with some foundation would have to carefully identify them for a while. Jing Yunjiao's level must have reached the level of a pharmaceutical master, not a simple apprentice. However, these people didn't know that it was the first time she had seen some of the herbs. The reason why she could recognize them was because of the spirit jade and elder su. In the spirit jade, there was a detailed explanation of various herbs, their taste, smell, and even their different shapes and effects at different times. Of course, the spirit jade was the ancestor's memory. After absorbing it, she integrated the memory into one, so it was normal for her to recognize them. Moreover, when she was with Elder Su, he always pretended to teach her something inadvertently. If she couldn't remember it, she would be scolded by Elder Su for a whole day. At this time, Jing Yunjiao had answered one more question correctly than Sun Yin, so she had the advantage. Then, everyone continued to check the answers. Sun Yin could recognize the common herbs, but it was a little difficult for her to recognize the others. Therefore, there were occasionally one or two correct answers, but even if she guessed the names of the herbs, she couldn't write down the medicinal properties. However, with her age and experience, this was a very good result. However, Jing Yunjiao's answers shocked everyone. She was still correct. She was able to recognize all the strange and unusual medicinal herbs. Not only that, she was even able to write down the medicinal properties of the herbs without the slightest mistake. The courtyard was completely silent. Everyone only felt a cold wind blowing in their hearts. When they looked at Jing Yunjiao's calm attitude, they felt a chill run down their spine. Although there were quite a number of very powerful master alchemists present, none of them were able to produce such amazing results at the age of 16 or 17. However, her attitude was as if it was only natural, which suddenly gave them a misconception that these medicinal ingredients were very simple. In fact, they knew that for beginners, this knowledge was like a book from heaven. It was difficult to understand and remember. That's impossible. Jing Yunjiao, did you already know the answer? You cheated, didn't you? Cui Jun saw Sun Yan's painful expression and immediately stepped forward to protect her. It was as if she had beaten Sun Yan up. Was she so wronged? She did have a great advantage because she had the space and the spirit jade, but these things couldn't be transferred into her mind for no reason. Every time she absorbed the spirit jade, the pain was simply unbearable. She had already endured this pain many times, and in the future, she would have to endure even more. Moreover, it wasn't just absorbing the spirit jade. Usually, she had to spend a lot of effort to remember and integrate it. If she was just a little bit playful, she wouldn't have the ability she had now. If Sun Yin wasn't greedy, she wouldn't have competed with her. Therefore, she still did what she wanted. Chapter 356. Jing Yunjiao stood tall and straight, looking extraordinary. He looked at Cui Jun with contempt and sneered. Are you suspecting that these test setters leaked the secret? Among the 9 judges, only 3 of them had set the questions, and they were all respected seniors. It was impossible for them to do such a thing for a junior, even if the junior was sent by Elder Sue. That was the dignity of the elders. Although these pharmacists were selfish, most of them were decent people. Since medicinal herbs could save people and harm people, they had learned how to be a good person from the moment they came into contact with medicinal herbs. Of course, it was normal for there to be a few people with bad intentions. After all, it was very difficult to maintain one's conscience with fame and fortune. However, these 3 test setters were all seniors. They must have been honest all their lives. Otherwise, they wouldn't have been elected. Now that Jingyun Zhao had spoken, all 3 of their expressions changed. Their attitude towards Cui Jun was also very displeased. The 3 of us didn't say anything outside of the competition when we set the questions, and we didn't talk to anyone else. How could Jingyun Zhao cheat? Cui Jun, you should be careful with your words. Suddenly, one of the seniors said unhappily. Cui Jun had a proud personality, but that was only towards people of the same age. In front of these rather famous and imposing elders, he was simply speechless. Instantly, his face turned red, and he said in a panic, I didn't mean that. Jingyun Zhao sneered. This Cui Jun was someone who bullied the weak and feared the strong. Then what do you mean? If no one leaked the questions, how could I cheat? Since you said that I cheated, you should at least give me an explanation, right? Don't tell me you're biting people because you're desperate. Jingyun Zhao didn't plan to let him go. Ji Shanshan saw that Cui Jun was in trouble and became anxious. Cui Jun just didn't believe that you're so good. He said the wrong thing. Why are you not letting him go? It was one thing for her to not hate Jingyun Zhao, but liking Cui Jun was another matter altogether. It was Jingyun Zhao's first time seeing someone who was so clear about his preferences. Ji Shanshan's attitude could be considered normal when Cui Jun was not involved. However, once Cui Jun was involved, even if they had a good relationship before, she would be able to cast him aside in the blink of an eye. If she looked back and saw that the competition was over, Ji Shanshan might come running to her again. If this wasn't schizophrenia, then what was? Jingyun Zhao was speechless. Ji Shanshan, are you retarded? Although she never showed weakness, she rarely scolded others. But now, she really couldn't hold it in anymore. Women in love were all idiots. This sentence was not groundless, especially for people like Ji Shanshan. Why are you scolding me? If there's anything you're dissatisfied with, just say it. Ji Shanshan frowned, no longer angry. If it was before, she would have already rolled up her sleeves and fought with Jingyun Zhao. However, after interacting with Jingyun Zhao for the past 2 to 3 days, she could tell that Jingyun Zhao wasn't someone who got angry easily, let alone someone who would fuss over every ounce. Of course, this was excluding when facing an enemy. Jingyun Zhao glanced at her. You want me to say it? Fine. I'll say it for you. I'm not letting Cui Jun go because I hate him, although that's the truth. Besides, this is a matter of principle. If he acts shamelessly after losing the competition, it shows that he has a bad character. If he denies it after being reprimanded by his seniors, it shows that he's not firm enough. I didn't do anything to Sun Yin, but he immediately rushed up to me. This shows that he has a bad eye for people. He's selfish and short-sighted, but he didn't say anything when you tried to help him. That means he thinks you're stupid and impulsive and doesn't treat you as one of his own. Ji Shanshan, do you want me to make it clear? Chapter 357. Rather than saying that Cui Jun was helping Sun Yin, it was more accurate to say that he was protecting the white moonlight in his heart. And this white moonlight was his cousin, so she was destined to never be a mosquito on the wall. She would always be protected and protected by him like a fairy. Once a woman had such a place in a man's heart, everyone else would become dispensable. Sun Yin was very smart. She lived in the Cui family, so it was inevitable that she would be treated differently. Thus, she immediately captured Cui Jun, who was the most controllable factor, and sat firmly on the fishing platform. No matter how good Sun Yan's memory was, without the Cui family's support, there was no way she could have learned so many things. And would the Cui family really support an outsider? Without Cui Jun's help, She didn't believe that this cousin of hers had the qualifications to learn about medicine. At most, she would help with some chores. But Ji Shanshan couldn't understand. In Cui Jun's heart, she wasn't even a mosquito. Jing Yunzhao's words stunned Ji Shanshan for a moment. Cui Jun isn't as bad as you say. He's smart, good-looking, and has a gentle personality. Gentle to you? I'm afraid he'll only be a little more modest when he has something to ask of you. Ji Shanshan, don't you know what you are? You're a spare tire, and the kind that you'll never want to replace. Ji Shanshan had always been very thick-skinned, but now that her position in Cui Jun's heart was questioned, she was very sad and almost cried. But at this moment, Ji Shanshan thought that since she was being bullied by Jing Yunzhao, Cui Jun would definitely stand up for her and prove that she wasn't a spare tire. She had been the apple of her parents' eye since she was young, and she even had an older brother to protect her. Who would say that she was a spare tire? Ji Shanshan curled her lips and turned around, only to see Cui Jun still frowning and lowering his head to comfort Sun Yin. Instantly, the bottle of vinegar was knocked over. Cui Jun. Sun Yin lost. So what? You can't comfort her. Who told her to be so stupid to compete with Jing Yunzhao? Ji Shanshan shouted directly. Jing Yunzhao's mouth twitched. No wonder Cui Jun always liked to use her. Idiot. Sun Yin instantly felt wronged. I'm sorry, cousin. I lost. It's all because I'm useless. There are still 3 more matches, but I've already lost 2. What should I do? Out of the 5 rounds of competition, the first 2 rounds were just a warm-up. The real skills would come later, and they would be competing in concocting medicine. However, Sun Yin had already lost all will to fight. After all, Jing Yunzhao's strength was too shocking. She didn't know what kind of surprises Jing Yunzhao would bring to others. When the time came, Jing Yunzhao would be worshipped and admired by others, and she would be the clown who had to run away in embarrassment. She wouldn't even be able to squeeze out the opportunity to make medicine in the future. Don't blame your cousin. I really don't blame you. Seeing Sun Yin cry, Cui Jun immediately panicked. He subconsciously yelled at Ji Shanshan, "Are you crazy, Ji Shanshan? Can't you see that my cousin is suffering right now? If you don't want to comfort her, then shut up. Hearing your voice annoys me." Ji Shanshan's heart skipped a beat when she heard this. However, for some reason, he wasn't too surprised. After all, he had been scolded by Cui Jun before, and it was mostly because of Sun Yin. She curled her lips and didn't say anything. However, Ji Shanshan's father and brother couldn't stand it anymore. They usually couldn't even bear to say a harsh word to their daughter. Now, Cui Jun was scolding her in public. Cui Jun, don't go too far. My daughter is young and doesn't know any better. She treats you as a friend. Has your conscience been eaten by a dog? Chapter 358. Cui Jun blurted out the harsh words in a moment of panic. But when he heard Papa Ji's voice, he immediately backed down. However, he was as anxious as an ant on a hot pan. How could he care less? I don't have time to comfort Ji Shanshan right now. We'll talk about it later. He and his cousin were facing the risk of losing. How could he be in the mood to mess around with Ji Shanshan? His cousin had always been a proud daughter of heaven. She had always been outstanding and had never suffered such a blow. He could tell just by looking at her now. She was crying so miserably that it made his heart ache. Ji Shanshan, on the other hand, didn't comfort her. Instead, she hit her when she was down. This was his cousin. She should at least give him some face. We'll talk about it later. Cui Zhanxian, look at your son. Papa Ji raged. Seeing her father like this, Ji Shanshan couldn't be so heartless. She hurried over and tugged at his clothes. Dad, don't be angry. Cui Jun's father, Cui Zhanxian, didn't look too good either. He didn't expect to lose 2 matches in a row. He had complaints in his heart, but he couldn't bring himself to do it. He was also dissatisfied with Cui Jun's attitude towards Sun Yin. After all, Sun Yin had no right to cry. But when he remembered that there were still 3 matches left, he dismissed the thought of reprimanding his son. Letting Sun Yin calm down was a wise choice. One ginseng didn't seem important. In fact, their family didn't lack ginseng. But the one in Jing Yunzhao's hand was different. Not to mention its high medicinal value, it would fetch a high price if sold. Therefore, even though Papa Ji yelled at him, Cui Zhanxian still went his own way. It's just a child throwing a tantrum. It's not serious. Besides, Shanshan was in the wrong this time. Still has a match later. What if her mood is affected and she loses again? Papa Ji choked on his words. He looked at the father and son and secretly gritted his teeth. He loved his daughter. No matter what, he wouldn't let her suffer with this kind of person. Before, he thought it was fine as long as his daughter liked him. But now, it seemed that if she was already like this at such a young age, it would only get worse when she grew up. Papa Ji immediately grabbed his daughter's hand. His expression was so serious that it was a little scary. It was the first time Ji Shanshan saw her father like this. She couldn't help but feel guilty and didn't dare continue helping Cui Jun. Although she liked Cui Jun, her parents and brothers were her family. Cui Jun couldn't be compared to them. The scene became quiet again. Both sides rested for a while, preparing to enter the next round. Biaojia, you have to believe in yourself. The things we competed with before were all the basics. Jing Yunjiao was just a little lucky. Maybe she just happened to have learned those things before. Don't take it to heart, just do your best. No matter what the result is, I won't blame you, Cui Jun said considerately. Towards the white moonlight in his heart, there would always be endless gentle whispers. Sun Yin replied with a pale smile, but in his heart, he snorted disdainfully. These words sounded nice. If she really lost, even if Cui Jun didn't blame her, her uncle would definitely blame her. After all, Cui Jun was the only son in the Cui family. If he couldn't inherit the family business, then the Cui family would be in trouble. Moreover, she wanted the ginseng, but so did her uncle. If she missed such a good opportunity, she would definitely be kicked out of the Cui family. Moreover, Cui Jun was not very interested in this, and his ability was also ordinary. Putting aside the Cui family, Cui Jun naturally felt that it did not matter if he won or not, but how could she be the same? It was easy for him to say that. Chapter 359. Sun Yin complained in her heart, but she couldn't and didn't dare to say it. She drank a few mouthfuls of water to relax and began to prepare for the next competition. She couldn't lose any of the last 3 pharmaceutical competitions. Once she lost, she would be completely finished. Jing Yunjiao had a good memory and knew how to recognize herbs, but he didn't necessarily know how to make medicine. Although she wasn't as proficient as those masters, she was the best among her peers. She could definitely win. Sun Yin looked a little weak. Jing Yunjiao was calm, but the atmosphere was particularly tense. Many people hoped that he and Sun Yin could suddenly make a comeback and turn defeat into victory. In front of them were complicated tools. The two of them stood on the stage. Soon, someone brought a long covered tray. It was one of the herbs to be processed today. When the red cloth was removed, something that made people's scalps tingle was immediately revealed. Jing Yunjiao and Sun Yin were both women. Generally, women's weakness when it came to making medicine was their mentality. For example, the medicine in front of them was a chi snake, also known as a 5-step snake or a white flower snake. It looked extremely disgusting and was even poisonous. However, the internal organs of the 5-step snake had been removed. It was a dry body. There was no need to worry that it would suddenly rush up and bite them. Even if it was a dead snake, it still made people's scalps tingle. After all, Jing Yunjiao was still young. Even in her previous life, she had only lived for more than 20 years. Although her mental strength was strong, it was impossible for her not to be afraid in the face of such a thing. However, that was before she met Su Lao. During those days when she stayed in Su Lao's courtyard, she had seen a lot of snakes. Most of them were even alive. She was responsible for slaughtering them. No matter how great her fear was, it was overcome by her. Therefore, she was only stunned for a moment. She reached out and took the dried snake in her hand. Next to her, Sun Yan's hand trembled. She had learned how to make medicine, but most of it was for plants. Of course, she had seen others process snakes, but this kind of thing was disgusting. She had never done it personally. Seeing that Jing Yunjiao had already started, how could she fall behind? She braced herself and picked up the snake. There were about 2 caddies of 5-step snakes placed here. He watched as Jing Yunjiao brushed the surface of these 5-step snakes and cleaned up the dust that was left behind from the drying. Only then did she use a knife to cut off the snake's head as well as the 2 to 3 inches of its tail. Everyone could see that her technique was a little inexperienced, but the steps were correct. He then placed the snake's body into a jar and poured in about a caddy of white wine to soak it. After a long time, he took it out and peeled off the snake's scales and backbones. After handling it, he washed it and prepared to dry it. It wasn't complicated, but the details were important. The snake's head, tail, and back are poisonous and should not be used as medicine. Rather than saying that this question was about making medicine, it was better to say that it was about courage. The person who came up with this question probably thought that both of them were girls, so he specifically chose the 5-step snake. Jing Yunzhao's movements were as smooth as flowing water. While she was waiting to be dried, Sun Yin was still shakily removing the snake's scales. His hand that was holding the knife was trembling slightly, and the people below all felt a wave of worry. It was obvious who was better and who was worse. It didn't take long for the first round to end in a draw. Even though Jing Yunzhao's medicine was good, it was a pity that Sun Yin had won the hearts of the people. Many people had to give the Cui family some face, so after Sun Yin finished, the competition ended in a draw. Jing Yunzhao didn't want to say anything more. After all, Sun Yin's work wasn't bad. Sun Yin breathed a sigh of relief. After it was over, her face was still pale. But before Sun Yin could completely relax, another round of processing began. She opened the jar and saw that the densely packed centipedes were still alive. 1. Chapter 360. In an instant, Sun Yin was so scared that she took a few steps back and fell to the ground. Her whole body trembled, and tears streamed down her face. Cui Jun rushed up immediately, but when he saw the centipedes, his legs went weak. No, no, no. How could they compete? Centipedes? Let his cousin concoct this martial art? Couldn't they just let someone else do it? The Cui family had a lot of workers. Cui Zhanxian immediately said, "No, we have to compete. If they went all out now, they might be able to win 2 more rounds. Then, it would be a draw, and his son wouldn't be affected. They had already come this far, but they had to back down. What kind of logic was that? Besides, wasn't it just some centipedes? Which of the pharmacists present hadn't tried it before? If others could do it, why couldn't she?" Sun Yin shook her head. She couldn't do it. Besides, she didn't know how to concoct the centipedes. She had never tried it before, so she would definitely make a mistake. If that was the case, why should she compete? Why should she come into contact with so many disgusting things? All these years, she learned how to make medicine, not because she liked it, but because it brought her enough benefits and fame. Moreover, she didn't have to work so hard at it back then. Seeing that Sun Yin refused to step forward no matter what, Cui Zhanyuan almost went crazy. "Sun Yin, our Cui family has raised you for so many years, and this is how you repay us." "I can't. Uncle, I'm going to lose anyway." Sun Yin was completely flustered. She didn't know how she lost to Jing Yunzhao. Everything felt like a dream. At the same time, Jing Yunzhao acted as if she couldn't hear the commotion. She raised her hand to clean the centipedes, removing their heads and tails one by one. Her appearance was peaceful, yet it made people's hair stand on end. Most of the people present, except for some of the younger ones, had cleaned these things before. However, no one was as calm as Jing Yunzhao, who didn't even frown. Jing Yunzhao wasn't calm, but he was trained by Elder Su. During the first month of learning how to make medicine from Elder Su, she had seen these things. In Elder Su's words, if she could handle the most terrifying things, then other things were nothing. During that time, she had almost handled all the terrifying living things in Elder Su's yard. Now, what did all this count for? The better Jing Yunzhao performed, the worse Sun Yin would lose. Mr. Cui Zhan was afraid that it would affect his son's future, so he was particularly angry. Seeing Sun Yin lying on the ground and not getting up, he reached out and pulled her up. Sun Yin was also in despair. Even though she knew that she had done her best, she was even more certain that she would never be supported by the Cui family in the future. She was no longer part of the Sun family when she was sent to the Cui family by her parents. There were still sisters-in-law in the Sun family, so no one would care about her. Sun Yan's pale face slowly turned cold. She stared at Cui Zhanxian and looked at the hand that was reaching out. Don't touch me. I've already lost. It's impossible. Even if you force me, I won't win, Sun Yin said. Having nothing to lose, how would you know if you don't try? Since you want to bet, then bet till the end. Otherwise, get out of the Cui family for me in the future, Cui Zhanxian said furiously. He was simply useless. So be it. What's the big deal? Do you think your Cui family is so great? I've had enough of all this nonsense. Anyway, I've already lost. Isn't it just that I can't make medicine in the future? Okay, I can't ask for more. Chapter 361. As Sun Yin spoke, she stood up from the ground and brushed her clothes. She stared at Cui Zhanxian and continued. You were the one who agreed to let me gamble. It's too late to regret it now. I can't beat her. When Sun Yin said that, Cui Zhanxian was furious. He raised his hand and slapped her. He instantly knocked her to the ground. Nonsense. That's because you didn't put in the effort. If she put in the effort, if she worked hard enough, how could she not win? She was a few years older than Jing Yunzhao. Had she been eating for the past few years been for nothing? Sun Yin covered her face. A trace of hatred flashed in her eyes. She glared at Cui Zhanxian and glanced at Jing Yunzhao. She was still dealing with the centipedes. How could she deal with such disgusting things? It made her want to vomit. I just lost a competition. If it weren't for Cui Jun, I wouldn't have come today. Now you're blaming me? Why are you blaming me? Sun Yin clenched her fists and said angrily. Cui Zhanxian snorted coldly. His expression was ugly. She had embarrassed him. Who else could he blame but her? Could it be that he was going to blame his son? But Cui Jun didn't participate in the competition. He was just implicated. With the anger of the two and Sun Yan's admission of defeat, the competition came to an end. Jing Yunzhao dealt with some preliminary things and didn't do anything else. These centipedes wouldn't go to waste anyway. Jing Yunzhao, you're very proud, aren't you? The thing I regret the most is coming today. If I hadn't listened to Cui Jun, I would still be fine now. After everything was settled, Sun Yin said to Jing Yunzhao. Jing Yunzhao just looked at her quietly. The reason you came wasn't because you were loyal, but because you wanted to show your kindness in front of others. You don't have to blame others. She came because Cui Jun invited her? No, as long as she knew that Jing Yunzhao was here, Sun Yin would have come even if Cui Jun wasn't here. She liked to stand in the position of the Virgin Mary and look down on a pitiful person like her. Whatever you say, you won anyway. Sun Yin gritted her teeth. Her heart was in a state of panic and emptiness. That kind of disgust and hatred caused her entire body to tremble, and she was on the verge of losing her mind. Jing Yunzhao raised an eyebrow. He walked over to Tong Yin and Ji Shanshan and took the ginseng back. As for the protection fee, Jing Yunzhao was not stingy. He returned to the house and took out 2 small boxes. I made this myself. It's good for the skin. Although Jing Yunzhao had a lot of ginseng in her hands, she couldn't treat herself as a money-scattering girl. In particular, the quality of the ginseng was extremely high. If he took it out too often, it would definitely cause trouble. Therefore, after much consideration, Jing Yunzhao decided to take out the ointment that he had developed in his free time. It would definitely be slightly better than the cosmetics that were bought outside. If it was before, Ji Shanshan wouldn't have believed it. However, after witnessing Jing Yunzhao's abilities, she accepted it without hesitation. The fragrance and the exquisite box made her very fond of it. Tong Yin was much calmer. She didn't want Jing Yunzhao's protection fee at all. However, Ji Shanshan still hadn't forgotten Jing Yunzhao's promise from before. After receiving the gift, she pestered Jing Yunzhao to open the brocade box and let Jing Yunzhao take a closer look at it. She didn't know how to control her actions, causing the old people to be nervous, afraid that Jing Yunzhao would break such a good thing. Ji Shanshan, whose side are you on? Why are you still so happy that I've been removed from the list? Unfortunately, someone couldn't stand it anymore. Cui Jun didn't care whether he could inherit the family business or not. After all, he didn't feel interested in making medicine yet. However, he didn't like this kind of embarrassing feeling. Chapter 362. Hearing his words, Ji Shanshan was a little unhappy. She wasn't competing. Did she have to fight to the death like them? Her father was angry just now. Not only did Cui Jun not restrain himself, he even scolded her in front of her father. Did he not consider her family's feelings? Ji Shanshan was angry, but she wouldn't vent her anger on Cui Jun. Or rather, she had never tried to vent her anger on Cui Jun, so she pretended not to hear him. However, Cui Jun wasn't his usual self. After being hit repeatedly, he was on the verge of exploding. Ji Shanshan wasn't Sun Yan, so he didn't have to be patient. In his subconscious, Ji Shanshan was his follower. He didn't need to turn around to drag her along, but he wouldn't allow her to fall behind either. However, this follower ignored his existence. How could he tolerate that? Cui Jun said coldly, "You're ignoring me, right? Don't come looking for me in the future." The Ji family's faces turned ugly. Jing Yunjiao looked at Ji Shanshan with a mocking expression. In fact, Ji Shanshan was a person who cared a lot about her reputation. She just ignored it in front of the person she liked. Now that she saw Jing Yunjiao's expression, she felt uncomfortable. Moreover, his parents were livid. Just as she was hesitating about what to say, she saw a figure rushing toward Cui Jun. Ji Shanshan panicked. When she came to her senses, she saw her brother pouncing on Cui Jun and smashing his face. She was stunned. Suddenly, there was a commotion. The Cui family, the Ji family, and the others who came to join in the fun were in a mess. Ji Zhengxing, don't think I'm afraid of your Ji family. Now that your son is hitting my son, your daughter will never be able to be with Cui Jun. Cui Zhangxian was furious. Cui Jun covered his face. Ji Shanshan, your family is a bunch of bastards. How dare you hit my son? I dumped you. Ji Shanshan was stunned. She hadn't even started dating Cui Jun yet. How did she get dumped? Jing Yunjiao smiled at the wrong time. This must be the family of a cornered dog jumping over the wall, right? She didn't want to meddle too much with the Ji family's matters, especially with Ji Shanshan. Their relationship wasn't good enough for Jing Yunjiao to step in and help her out. Moreover, this stubborn idiot was useless even if Jing Yunjiao helped her. Thus, Jing Yunjiao took her things and returned to her room. Behind him was Sun Yan's venomous gaze. Jing Yunjiao wasn't afraid of her. If she liked to stare, then so be it. She wouldn't lose anything anyway. Besides, she couldn't possibly go up and gouge out Sun Yan's eyes just because someone looked at her too much, right? Jing Yunjiao went back to his room, entered the space to study, and then went asleep. Outside, the events of the night were far more exciting than she had expected. When she woke up in the morning and went out to take a look, the courtyard was still in a mess. The medicinal herbs and supplementary materials on the table yesterday were all overturned on the ground, extremely wasteful. Because it was very late at night, there was no time to clean it up. The gathering had been held for many years. Although the location was different every time, there had never been such a terrible beating. Cui Jun's face was bruised and swollen. The perpetrator was Ji Shanshan's brother. This kind of situation was not allowed here, so the Ji family's brother was kicked out and left in the morning. As for Cui Jun and Sun Yan, they were also going to leave. However, the Cui family was waiting for her to personally mediate. The moment Tong Yin told her that the Cui family wanted to mediate, Jing Yunjiao's face flashed a faint sneer. Mediate only after losing? Did they take her for a fool? Chapter 363. In the front hall, the father and son of the Cui family were sitting upright. Sun Yan was beside them, clearly out of place with the father and son of the Cui family. When Jing Yunjiao arrived, Cui Zhangxian immediately greeted her. "Miss Jing." He put on a fake smile. Jing Yunjiao stopped in her tracks. "Why? Miss Sun and young Master Cui haven't left yet. This contract was signed a long time ago. As long as I win, you'll immediately get out of my sight, right?" She had heard from Tong Yin that when Ji Shanshan's brother was kicked out, Cui Jun was very arrogant. Now that it was her turn, he was scared. As soon as Jing Yunjiao finished speaking, Cui Zhangxian suppressed his anger. "Miss Jing, don't always leave a way out for others. Don't you think so? I admit that these two children made the wrong decision yesterday. They shouldn't have competed with you. But since you've already competed, isn't your reputation enough? Our Cui family only has one son, Cui Jun. If he doesn't become a pharmacist in the future, then our Chui family's legacy will be broken. What does that have to do with me? Jing Yunjiao was firm. Not to mention the Chui family's legacy being broken. Even if the family line was broken, it had nothing to do with her, right? Chui Jun was looking for trouble, but she still had to consider the Chui family. She wasn't Ji Shanshan. She wouldn't be so stupid as to be so shameless for a boy like this. Miss Jing, do you think the benefits aren't enough? Fine. I'll give you 100,000 as long as you give up that contract and tell the public that the competition will be void in the future. I can take out a ginseng at a sky-high price. Do you think I'll be short of 100,000? Jing Yunjiao found it more and more funny. Father Chui gritted his teeth. You want the right to use the herb field, right? As long as you agree, once I win the competition, I'll give you half of the right to use the herb field. In fact, the right to use the herb field referred to money. The winner of this competition would receive a portion of the income from the herb field. Whether it was the herbs inside or the money from selling them, it would all belong to the winner. Of course, this would have to exclude the fees of the farmer. This medicinal field was so big. Every time there was a harvest of medicinal herbs, the families of these master pharmacists would naturally come to negotiate. The money they earned was not small. If I want the medicine field, I will win myself. Moreover, with my experience, I can see that you won't be able to win. This kind of empty promise is useless to me. Jing Yunjiao didn't give him any face. Did this Chui Zhanxian take her for a fool? With so many master pharmacists present, when would it be the Chui family's turn to win? Of course, Jing Yunjiao didn't think that she could win. After all, although she had learned a lot, her pharmaceutical techniques were relatively inexperienced. She couldn't compare to those seniors who had been in the field for decades. However, even if she couldn't win, she wouldn't fall behind others. That was enough, because the three seniors were about the same age as Elder Su. Although their status was not as high as Elder Su's, they were still very high. They were used to maintain the balance of the Medicine Association. If she couldn't defeat the three of them, she would only be able to obtain a quarter of the medicine field's income. The remaining 3/4 would be in the hands of the three of them. However, for each person she won, she would receive a portion of the medicine field's income. No matter what the result was, she wouldn't lose out. Chui Zhanxian didn't expect Jing Yunjiao to be so arrogant. Now that he saw that she wasn't cooperating, he became even angrier. He simply didn't hide it and said, Jing Yunjiao, it won't do you any good to push me too far. Enough is enough. So what if it won't do me any good? A person needs to live for a breath. Your son has made things difficult for me, so he deserves to be removed from the competition, Jing Yunjiao said coldly. Her aura wasn't weak at all. Chapter 364. After Jing Yunjiao finished speaking, Chui Zhanxian glared at her for a long time. It was a pity that Jing Yunjiao didn't even look at him in the eye. She might as well just ask people to escort Sun Yin and Chui Jun away. The winner was the king, and the loser was the bandit. She had won in front of so many people, so she was qualified to fulfill the agreement. The two of them were driven to the intersection, and there were many onlookers. Wait. When Chui Jun was driven to the car, Ji Shanshan suddenly rushed out and ran to Chui Jun. Chui Jun, you have to apologize to my family. When Chui Jun saw Ji Shanshan, he thought of the wound on his face. Are you crazy? Go away. When Ji Shanshan heard that, she suddenly went crazy. She reached out and tore at Chui Jun's clothes. She even prepared a blade in her hand. The onlookers were stunned and didn't dare to help. In a short while, Chui Jun's clothes were unrecognizable. Not only that, she rushed to Sun Yin in the next second. Staring at her neck, she reached out and tore the necklace off her neck. I bought all these, Ji Shanshan said angrily. In order to please Chui Jun, she had specially bought a female necklace for him to give to Sun Yin to show that she was reconciling with her. Who knew that Sun Yin would turn hostile after taking the necklace, which made her hate her even more. Also, Chui Jun's watch, phone, and coat were all given out by her during various festivals. Now, she wanted to get them back one by one. She liked Chui Jun, and she still liked him now. Chui Jun could bully her and ignore her, but he definitely couldn't provoke her parents and brother. Yesterday, her brother fought with Chui Jun for her, and today, he was driven out directly. In the future, he wouldn't be able to raise his head in front of his peers, Today, her parents looked at her with disappointment. She had never been so afraid. When she couldn't catch up with Cui Jun, she was also sad, but it was different from the feeling in the early morning. When her brother was driven away, it was as if the sky was falling. However, Cui Jun was still shouting and scolding her. He said that she was crazy, that she was a shrew, and that she had embarrassed her parents. Since he said that she was a shrew, then she would show him what she was made of. For her parents, she would never be good to him again. After Ji Shanshan snatched her things, she didn't forget to say, "When you go back, return your computer to me. I know your family doesn't lack money, so don't take my things." He would be a scoundrel to the end and help Buddha to the west. After saying all this, Ji Shanshan walked back to Papa Ji with reddened eyes and cried hard. Cui Jun had lost a lot of face. He immediately hated Ji Shanshan. Sun Yin was even more unlucky. Cui Jun had a car, but she didn't. Because Cui Zhanyuan had decided to kick her out of the Cui family, she could only walk to the platform and live in the school. So, she had to earn her tuition and living expenses by herself. It was precisely because he thought of the miserable future that he felt even more resentful. Her eyes looked as if they were about to spit fire as she engraved Jing Yunzhao's humiliating name deep into her heart. Clenching her teeth, her figure slowly left the crowd's line of sight. Step by step, she cursed Jing Yunzhao in her heart. "Jing Yunzhao, my brother asked me to apologize to you before he left. Although I don't know what to apologize for, I'm sorry." Ji Shanshan said bitterly. She was heartbroken. She had to apologize to Jing Yunzhao when she was heartbroken. This was the saddest thing in the world. Chapter 365. Ji Shanshan's eyes were as swollen as walnuts. Jing Yunzhao couldn't bear to see her like this. She couldn't bring herself to do this for someone who wasn't worth it. As for Ji Shanshan's apology, Jing Yunzhao simply nodded and turned to leave. However, Ji Shanshan immediately pounced on him. "Don't go. What did you mean by that attitude just now? Do you think I'm that stupid?" Jing Yunzhao's gaze was clearly disdainful of her. She still remembered Jing Yunzhao's words about Cui Jun's character being problematic, but she just couldn't see it. The more she looked at Cui Jun, the better she became. She even thought that Cui Jun was perfect. Of course, there was one black mark she couldn't accept, and that was his disrespect for her parents. Jing Yunzhao's feet paused. "You do?" Her gaze was serious and solemn. At the side, Tong Yan's mouth twitched, but he found it funny. Jing Yunzhao actually answered such a question that made people speechless? This wasn't like her at all. After last night's comparison, Jing Yunzhao had become a goddess in Tong Yan's heart. Her calm demeanor, her ability to kill Sun Yin with a single sentence. No matter what it was about her, it was admirable. However, Jing Yunzhao gave him a repulsive feeling. She was unapproachable. Even though he could exchange a few words with her, he still felt that she was out of reach. This kind of pressure was like that of a senior. However, Jing Yunzhao looked like she was only 16 or 17. She looked much younger than him. Ji Shanshan snorted. "You just can't stand me. Great. Now that Cui Jun is gone, you must be laughing at me in your heart." Jing Yunzhao's eyelids twitched. She looked up at the sky, speechless. "Since you know that I can't stand you, then stop hanging around in front of me, okay?" Jing Yunzhao said helplessly. "That won't do. The more you hate me, the more I want you to see me. You live in Huaning County, right? Why don't you take me to have some fun? I've never been there before." Ji Shanshan said. When he spoke, his voice was thick and nasal, giving off a pitiful look, as if Jing Yunzhao's refusal was a huge sin. Ji Shanshan was a troublesome and unreasonable person. Those who walk different paths cannot make plans together. Jing Yunzhao would never let herself get involved with this idiot. She immediately replied no. After saying that, he immediately left, ignoring Ji Shanshan's yelling behind him. Ji Shanshan wailed for a long time. She was in a bad mood, and Tong Yin and Father Ji were coaxing her. Ji Shanshan knew that after embarrassing Cui Jun, she would never be able to catch up with him in the future. Between her family and Cui Jun, she would still choose the former. The final competition of the medicine fair also began on this day. Jing Yunzhao had left such an impression on them that the elders could no longer treat her as an ordinary child. Jun's father, Cui Zhanxian, boasted that he would be the champion, but in reality, he was eliminated in the first round. It wasn't that he was incapable, but that he wasn't as focused as the others. His state of mind was in chaos, and he couldn't concentrate on his work. He made frequent mistakes in simple concocting tasks. The three elders could tolerate him once or twice, but when they saw that he couldn't concentrate on concocting the ingredients, they chose to eliminate him without hesitation. Cui Zhanxian was a reputable figure, so he couldn't bear to be eliminated in the first round. That night, he got into a carriage and left the farm. Jingyun Zhao, on the other hand, overcame all difficulties and jumped out of the crowd. Chapter 366. Jingyun Zhao also knew that there had to be a limit to everything. As a parachutist, she had won against so many elders who were older than her. Although she had a reputation, she would also attract hatred. She couldn't go overboard in everything. If water was full, it would overflow. Therefore, in the end, Jingyun Zhao didn't compare herself with the three elders in this medicine fair. After all, the three elders were well aware of her performance. Moreover, she had an innate advantage. These elders had accumulated years of hard work and experience. It was not worthwhile for her to go overboard and embarrass them. However, even if the competition didn't end, Jingyun Zhao was undoubtedly the biggest winner in this medicine fair. A quarter of the profit from the medicinal field was not small. In the next year, that sum of money would be sent to her. Since Jingyun Zhao had won and was related to Elder Su, her status naturally rose. Those who were originally prepared to go easy on her felt as if they had been slapped in the face. They were flustered. After Jingyun Zhao left, all of them heaved a sigh of relief. This medicine fair was simply a trial for them. However, because of this, they were a little more alert. What they had lost was not knowledge, but seriousness. Although their reputations had been rising over the years, in reality, they had less contact with medicinal herbs than before. They had sons and disciples and could hire people to do things for them. Therefore, they rarely took the initiative to intervene in matters of concocting medicinal herbs. They would only step in if they encountered something that others couldn't handle. However, this also led to more and more flaws in their methods, even though they knew a lot. However, Jingyun Zhao was different. She was very serious about any medicinal herbs. Even if her methods were a little rusty at the beginning, she would rather be slow than be perfunctory. As a result, her concocting process was almost perfect. Now that they had lost to Jingyun Zhao, they couldn't help but reflect on themselves. Jingyun Zhao was also considered polite. Although she had won, she also knew that she had been very lucky. She was very polite to everyone and gave them a lot of face. This attitude also made these people feel a little better. Their impression of Jingyun Zhao was also better than before. Once the competition was over, Jingyun Zhao directly rushed back to Huaning County. She had taken a week's leave, and with the rest days in between, she still had 3 days to relax. However, when Jingyun Zhao returned home, he found that Su Chu and Gan Jinshan were not in high spirits. If it had been in the past, Su Chu would have pounced on her the moment she entered the room. But this time, she sank into the sofa and frowned, as if she had something important to say. Jingyun Zhao felt a little uneasy when he saw her like this. "Cousin, you're back?" Su Chu greeted him with a smile, but she couldn't hide the disappointment on her face. Jingyun Zhao put down his things and walked over. He looked at Gan Jinshan and asked, "What happened?" "Xiao Haiqing transferred schools," Gan Jinshan said. Jingyun Zhao's heart skipped a beat, and his face darkened. "When? Which school did she transfer to?" Gan Jinshan sighed and said, "It was the 3rd day after you left. You also know that their family does business, right? Uncle Zhao's business is getting better and better. Now, he is preparing to move the family to Ning City. Xiao Haiqing wanted to stay here, but his father didn't allow it. He forcefully transferred her away. As for the school, we contacted Xiao Haiqing and found out that it's not a good school. It's not even in Ning City. It's not even as good as our county's first high school." Chapter 367. After Gan Jinshan finished speaking, Jingyun Zhao's face darkened. "I really don't know what her father is thinking. No matter what, Xiao Haiqing is still his daughter. Even though it's reasonable for him to bring her to Ning City, He should have found a good school. Yet, he chose a mediocre one. I asked my father to ask around and found out that the school is private. There are many second-generation heirs who aren't considered rich, but are better than the average family. Gan Jinchen was also furious. Jing Yunjiao carefully recalled the events in her mind. She realized that there were some differences between the Xiao family's relocation and her previous life. In her previous life, Xiao Hongya had always been in school. When she returned home, she mentioned Xiao Haiqing many times. Thus, she was certain that Xiao Haiqing had always been living in Huaning County until she was admitted to a university in the capital. But since that was the case in her previous life, why would there be a change now? Jing Yunjiao was secretly shocked. Was it because of her? Why didn't you tell me earlier? Jing Yunjiao was also at a loss. Xiao Haiqing said that if you were willing to take a leave, it must be something important. Anyway, even if you knew, it wouldn't change anything. So, we should wait for you to come back first, Gan Jinchen said. Cousin, what do you think Haiqing should do? I heard that she's living with her stepmother and brother now. Won't she be bullied by them every day? Also, that lousy school is so messy. Haiqing definitely can't focus on her studies. Suchu curled her lips anxiously. In the past, when Xiao Haiqing was in Huaning County, she always lived in her deceased mother's old house. She rarely met with her stepmother and brother. Thus, even though they didn't get along well, there were few conflicts. But now, it was different. In Ning City, Xiao Haiqing had no friends and was suppressed by her stepmother. Her situation was definitely not good. Jing Yunjiao was also a little frustrated. Especially when she thought about how she might have affected Xiao Haiqing's future, she felt even more guilty. Xiao Haiqing had lived a carefree life in her previous life. She had married a few people, but all of her husbands had died. Although she did not know why she had become a black widow in the mouths of others, but when she saw her flamboyant smile on the newspaper, she felt that she had lived a carefree life. Now that things had gone off the rails, what would her life be like? Jing Yunjiao secretly shook his head, unable to understand. He turned back to the house and called Xiao Haiqing. Unfortunately, the other end of the phone was busy and no one answered. After more than half an hour, she received a reply. Darling, are you done? On the other end of the phone, Xiao Haiqing's voice was still bright and beautiful, but Jing Yunjiao could hear that it was a little stiff and hoarse. He didn't know what was wrong, but it was different from usual. What's going on? Jing Yunjiao asked. Xiao Haiqing paused. Don't worry, it's not a problem. It's just a change of environment. As for you, have you settled everything? Xiao Haiqing, didn't you say that you would take care of me in the future? Why? It's only been a year, and you're already leaving. You can leave, but you should at least give me an explanation, right? Jing Yunjiao's voice was cold, and listening to it made one's scalp tingle. Xiao Haiqing scratched her head. I did say that I would take care of you, but you don't need me to. Tell me clearly, what's going on now? Jing Yunjiao's attitude was firm. Xiao Haiqing sighed on the other end of the phone. Really, I knew I couldn't persuade you. My father received a big project. Our family is going to be a landlord from now on. My father was happy and bought a house in Ning City. He can't just leave me, his daughter, in Huaning County, can he? What about school? I heard from Gan Jinchen that you went to a low-class school. Jing Yunjiao said again. Chapter 368. Xiao Haiqing was very smart. She had been very stable this year. She was in the top 50 of the grade. Her strength was still very good. With her grades and the Xiao family's current family background, it was not impossible for her to go to a key school in Ning City. In any case, she shouldn't be reduced to going to a low-class school, right? Jing Yunjiao didn't mean to discriminate against those schools, but he had to admit that the so-called good school environment was indeed better. The school was messed up by that woman. Xiao Haiqing seemed to be a little cynical and said, the woman told my father that Mingyang High School was an aristocratic school. There were many children of wealthy families in it. I grew up in Huaning County. My temper was wild and unpresentable, so she suggested that my father send me to that school to have more contact with those children of wealthy families. I can also learn some etiquette and rules. Otherwise, when I accompany my father to attend some activities in the future, I will embarrass him. Jing Yunjiao listened and felt a burst of anger in his heart. let alone Xiao Haiqing herself. Why didn't I see you so obedient before? Jing Yunjiao murmured. I can't do anything. That was my father. He said that if I didn't listen, he would sell the house my mother left me. Yunjiao, when my mother died, she only left a house. Although it wasn't big, the location wasn't good, and it wasn't worth much money, it was left to me by her. If it was sold by that family, then I will suffer for a lifetime. Isn't it just a school? It's not a place that will eat people. I'm not afraid, Xiao Haiqing said. She was not afraid, but she was sullen in her heart. Jing Yunjiao knew Xiao Haiqing better. She was flamboyant, arrogant, and careless. She valued friendship more than anyone else. She had always regarded her face as more important than anything else. In the past, she used to fight people in school just to vent her anger. Now, she had to suppress this anger. It would be strange if she felt good. Moreover, she lived with the woman she mentioned. I still have 3 days off. Can I go to Ning City to find you? Is it convenient? Jing Yunjiao asked. Xiao Haiqing was stunned. Of course I'd love to, but forget it. I'm living with the old witch and the little devil at home. I don't want you to suffer with me. I'll go take a look. Otherwise, I'll be worried, Jing Yunjiao said again. Although she and Xiao Haiqing had only known each other for about a year, it could be said that she regretted not having met her earlier. If there was a friend who could make her not hesitate, it would definitely be Xiao Haiqing. Xiao Haiqing pondered for a while. Then you can come and stay with me tonight. Jing Yunjiao heaved a sigh of relief. After saying this, Jing Yunjiao chatted with her for a while and roughly understood the situation of the Xiao family. Xiao Haiqing's mother passed away early, when she was about 7 or 8 years old. 2 years later, Xiao Haiqing's father married a new woman. When she married, she was already pregnant and gave birth to a big fat boy. When the stepmother first married Xiao Haiqing, she was naturally very good to Xiao Haiqing. Every day, she would ask about her well-being, which made Xiao Haiqing's father feel very relieved. But in Xiao Haiqing's words, this stepmother wanted to beat her to death. When she was 10 years old, she hated this new mother, so she ran away from home. However, she had no money, so she stole 500 yuan from her family. But at that time, she was still young and didn't know the way, so she was sent back. After returning home, her father naturally wanted to beat her severely, but her stepmother stopped him and threatened her with the baby in her belly. Only then did she manage to escape. At that time, she was naturally very grateful. She thought that this stepmother cared about her wholeheartedly and was moved for a long time. Chapter 369. Xiao Haiqing was still young at that time, so she wasn't very clear about what was right and what was wrong. After she ran away from home, her stepmother treated her even better. She gave her enough money and would even introduce her children to her as her little friends. However, those people didn't get along with her and always said that she was a burden, so they often quarreled. Every time, her stepmother would apologize. In just a year, her father became more and more disappointed in her. Her relatives and friends also felt that she was not very sensible since she was young. When she was angry, she became worse and worse. She hung out on the streets every day like a delinquent girl and didn't like to go to class. However, her stepmother still didn't scold her and still spoke for her. At that time, she had a grandfather who was not very healthy. Although she learned bad things, she was very well behaved every time she saw this grandfather. However, once, her grandfather accidentally saw her arrogantly hanging out with a group of delinquents and fainted on the spot. Her grandfather's health was not good, and he became worse after being angered by her. However, at that time, he was still afraid that she would become worse, so he scolded her fiercely. She suddenly realized the difference between her grandfather and her stepmother who doted on her. Since then, she kept a distance from her stepmother. However, in her father's eyes, she was still a frivolous person. She simply played and ate. When she entered high school, she simply moved out of the house. Not long after her grandfather reprimanded her, he passed away. She didn't even have anyone to rely on. Jing Yunjiao chatted with her for a long time. After hanging up the phone, she still felt a little uncomfortable in her heart. Xiao Haiqing's father was his biological child, but he didn't even believe in his own child. She shivered in an instant. She always felt that she didn't want to understand her biological parents more and more. Although this was unfilial, she would rather be like before or like Xiao Haiqing. She would rather be wild. Jing Yunjiao just came back from Ning City, but after hanging up the phone that day, she left again. Su Chu and Gan Jinchen still had classes in the afternoon, so naturally, they could only watch her leave. Cousin, when you come back, you must tell me what that evil old witch looks like. I will curse her every day. Su Chu gritted her teeth. Gan Jinchen frowned. It's a pity that outsiders like us can't help her. You should comfort her when you go over. The college entrance examination will be in a year and a half. At that time, we will all go to the same school. All right, I need to inform Tang Zihua later. His family is from Serene City and they are very powerful. I need him to send people to pay more attention to them. Su Chu mumbled again. They all knew that Tang Zihua's family background was very good, but they had never asked him for help. After all, they were a group of people who cared about their reputation. But at this moment, how much was face worth? Xiao Haiqing's life was more important. The two of them gave her a good explanation, as if she was a messenger of justice who was going to rid the world of violence and bring peace to the people. Jing Yunjiao smiled bitterly in response. Jing Yunjiao packed up and prepared to go out. But just as she walked to the entrance of the neighborhood, she saw a familiar figure squatting next to the security room, staring at the people coming and going. When Jing Yunjiao saw the other party, the corner of her mouth couldn't help but twitch twice. She didn't know whether to advance or retreat. Just as she was stunned on the spot, the figure turned around and caught a glimpse of her. Instantly, the eyes of the figure lit up. Without a word, the two of them rushed towards Jing Yunjiao. Jing Yunjiao, I finally found you. I asked a lot of people on the way here. Fortunately, you are famous, or I wouldn't have a place to stay tonight. Chapter 370. Ji Shanshan's attitude was too enthusiastic, causing Jing Yunjiao to jump in fright and dodge. What are you doing here? Jing Yunjiao felt a headache coming on. I'm here to look for you. I'm heartbroken. Our house is quite close to the Cui family. If I go back, I'll definitely want to bow down to Cui Jun. If that happens, I'll be letting my father and brother down. So, I thought it'd be better for me to go out and relax. I've asked for leave from school. It's not time yet, so I'm free. Ji Shanshan did as she pleased. She kept saying that she was heartbroken, but other than her eyes being a little red and swollen, there was nothing out of the ordinary about her. She was willful, mischievous, and did whatever she wanted. But I'm going out now, Jing Yunjiao said. Ji Shanshan was stunned. She also saw the luggage in her hand. Where are you going? Back to Ning City to see a friend. Then let's go together? You can't leave me alone in Huaning County, right? Then you'll be more and more annoying. Anyway, I don't care. I'm in a bad mood right now, and the wounded are the most important. If you don't let me come with you, then I'm going to quarrel with you right now. Ji Shanshan threatened. Jing Yunjiao's mouth twitched. Why was she so clingy? You're not going to respond, are you? Then I'll shout. Ji Shanshan snorted, then said loudly, Jing Yunjiao, then you can come with me. Jing Yunjiao was speechless. Ji Shanshan would never say anything nice. If she really scolded her in public, although it wouldn't be a big deal to her, it would still be annoying. Moreover, her life had just been a little quieter recently. She didn't want to attract attention because of it. A victorious smile appeared on Ji Shanshan's face as she grinned. Who told you to call me a retard? If you scold me again, I'll stand at the entrance of your neighborhood every day and shout at the top of my lungs. Ji Shanshan snorted, proud of herself. She was simply shameless. Jing Yunjiao had never seen a girl with such a thick skin. She had bad taste, protective, irritable, and shameless. There was nothing good about her. Knowing her was simply torture. We've agreed that we'll go our separate ways after we arrive at Ning City. I really have something to do. Jing Yunjiao reminded her again while carrying the luggage. That won't do. You're in trouble, but I'm fine. And didn't you say you wanted to meet a friend? If you don't let me see him, is he my boyfriend? Ji Shanshan nagged and said, Do you have the heart to see my boyfriend when I'm heartbroken? Who are you to me? Why wouldn't I be able to bear it? Jing Yunjiao directly replied. He couldn't even be considered a friend. At most, he could be considered a familiar stranger. Jing Yunzhao, you're bullying me, aren't you? You're too heartless. If you didn't compete with Sun Yin, I wouldn't have provoked her, I wouldn't have quarreled with Cui Jun, and I wouldn't have fallen out of love. In the end, it's all your fault. You have to take responsibility, Ji Shanshan said. Jing Yunzhao looked at her in disbelief. There's nothing wrong with your heart, right? It's your own bad eyesight that mistook her for someone else. What does it have to do with me? Besides, he wanted her to take responsibility. She wasn't a boy. How could she take responsibility? Yes, it's your fault. If I say so, then so be it. Ji Shanshan didn't care about Jing Yunzhao's thoughts at all. She looked at her coldly and continued to follow her. Aya, you stingy person. I'll pay for myself. Just let me follow you. Ji Shanshan curled her lips. She was shameless to the extreme. Chapter 371. Jing Yunzhao was annoyed by her, so she walked to the station instead of taking a taxi. She had a foundation in martial arts, so she walked very fast and carried little luggage. Ji Shanshan, on the other hand, was dragging a large suitcase and carrying a heavy backpack. She followed behind her with her small arms and legs and was soon left far behind. But surprisingly, Ji Shanshan didn't yell at her and tried to keep up. She looked very stubborn. When Jing Yunzhao turned her head and saw her unwillingness to admit defeat, a strange feeling flashed through her heart. She sighed and waited on the spot for a while. Go ahead. Don't look down on me. I can keep up. Ji Shanshan nagged as she kept up. Don't think I don't know what you're thinking. You just want to bully me, right? Unfortunately, I'm in a bad mood now. I like to be abused. Just come at me like a storm. Jing Yunzhao sighed. Ji Shanshan was really something. Jing Yunzhao stopped a taxi and threw Ji Shanshan's luggage onto it. Get in. She was so bored that she would argue with such an idiot. Ji Shanshan grinned. You're like a domineering CEO. Unfortunately, I have a sweetheart. You don't have a chance. As he spoke, he placed his bag in the front passenger seat and sat beside Jing Yunzhao. Jing Yunzhao was too lazy to argue with her now. After all, her personality wasn't something that could be reasoned with. She remained silent throughout the journey, but Ji Shanshan was like a loudspeaker, blaring non-stop in her ears. Don't be fooled by her willfulness. Her mouth was still very sweet. She chatted happily with the driver, and the driver only took half of the fare. Ji Shanshan was even more arrogant than before. She felt that she had played a role. Fortunately, she seemed to be really tired on the way to Serene City. She fell asleep as soon as she got in the car. Jing Yunzhao's ears were finally quiet. Is this your friend's house? It's quite luxurious. At night, they arrived at their destination. Jing Yunzhao made a phone call, and Xiao Haiqing quickly opened the door. This was a villa district. Every inch of land in Serene City was worth an inch of gold. The value of this house was not low. It could be seen that the Xiao family was living a good life. Xiao Haiqing glanced at Ji Shanshan, amused. The Jing Yunzhao she knew was confident and calm. Unless it was necessary, he was a man of few words. He was an honest man who liked to read with his head down. However, on the way here today, he complained to her on the phone for a while, saying that there was a noisy follower by his side that he couldn't get rid of. She could feel his resentment even through the phone. At that moment, she felt that Jing Yunzhao was finally down to earth. Therefore, she had a good impression of Ji Shanshan. Jing Yunzhao's usual life was too depressing. Making a friend like this, although it made her irritable, obviously made her feel more relaxed. It was just that she didn't realize it herself. The three of them entered the house and went up to a room on the third floor. After putting down everything, Xiao Haiqing looked at Ji Shanshan and said, Hello, I'm Xiao Haiqing. Welcome to our house. I'm Ji Shanshan. You can call me Shanshan. Ji Shanshan was also very straightforward. Ji Shanshan kept her eyes on Jing Yunzhao and Xiao Haiqing. She found that the two of them were really compatible. One had a cold and arrogant temperament, the other had a heroic and generous temperament. There was no need to talk about their appearances. Jing Yunzhao belonged to the type that couldn't be blasphemed, while Xiao Haiqing looked like a careless boy, but if she were to dress up, she would be the hot type. On the other hand, standing next to the two of them, she looked much more ordinary. Chapter 372. Ji Shanshan didn't know why she wanted to follow Jing Yunjiao, but she really didn't want to go home. Her house was full of Cui Jun's photos and the things he liked and used. If she went back now, she didn't know what to do with them. She was afraid that she couldn't help but apologize to Cui Jun, just like before. After thinking for a while, she finally decided to look for Jing Yunjiao. He wanted to know what her life was like, or to find something for himself to do. In the past, she had followed Jing Yunjiao on the internet, so she knew that Jing Yunjiao was studying at County First Middle School. Thus, she dragged her things and walked over. She first stayed at the school entrance for a while, then asked a few people to inquire about her. Sure enough, Jing Yunjiao's name was very famous. Many people knew that she walked out of Warm Heart Garden every day, so she waited at the gate of the neighborhood. After waiting for a long time, her legs and feet went numb. Fortunately, her efforts paid off. But the funny thing was that she was brought back to Ning City by Jing Yunjiao. Although Ji Shanshan wasn't a very familiar person, she was used to being spoiled since she was young, so she didn't resist the unfamiliar environment. In a short while, she looked around the third floor of Xiao Haiqing's house. The environment is pretty good, but are all the things you like in this house? It's so strange, Ji Shanshan said with a strange expression. The wardrobe was filled with beautiful clothes, but it was a pity that the style was too gaudy. It did not match Xiao Haiqing at all. The room was pink and there were many plush dolls. It was too cute. Other than that, there was a bookshelf. The books inside surprised her even more. How to be a socialite, the cultivation of a virtuous lady, how to cultivate your temperament. She didn't read these things, but a girl like Xiao Haiqing studied them every day. It was too shocking. Xiao Haiqing pursed her lips. My aunt bought them. Aunt? Aunt Nanny? Ji Shanshan looked ignorant. Xiao Haiqing giggled. She's the woman my father married. Oh, stepmother. Ji Shanshan became even more direct. After she finished speaking, she did not show any so-called sympathy. Instead, she asked directly, I heard that stepmothers are more vicious. This creature of yours is very strange. Since she cares so much about you and bought so many things for you, why did she buy all the wrong things? I can see that these things don't suit you. Xiao Haiqing glanced at Jing Yunjiao. I think Shanshan is quite cute. To tell the truth, he wasn't so scheming. Although his words weren't very likable, he wasn't a bad person. In fact, he was more amusing than happy. Of course, only Jing Yunjiao thinks I'm annoying. Ji Shanshan snorted proudly. Jing Yunjiao's eyelids twitched. Don't praise her. She'll be in heaven soon. When Xiao Haiqing heard this, her eyes brightened. The more she thought about Ji Shanshan, the more she felt that Ji Shanshan was good. It wasn't that she liked Ji Shanshan, but Jing Yunjiao seemed to have a hard time controlling herself in front of Ji Shanshan. She would always say a few words that she normally wouldn't say. The three of them fooled around for a while. Not long after, it was time for dinner. The nanny at the door came to call them. Only then did the three of them tidy up and go downstairs. Downstairs, the dishes were already laid out on the dining table. Xiao Haiqing's father was sitting on the sofa, reading the financial newspaper. The beautiful stepmother was serving rice, and beside her was a little boy of about 5 or 6 years old. This family looked very harmonious. Xiao Haiqing did seem a little out of place when she appeared. Chapter 373. Jing Yunjiao and Ji Shanshan were people who knew the rules. After they went downstairs, they greeted them as uncle, auntie as a form of respect. Xiao Haiqing's father was called Xiao Daoan. He looked quite imposing and had the air of a successful person. After the two greeted him, Xiao Daoan put down the newspaper and grunted. He didn't take it to heart, and his attitude was cold. Xiao Haiqing was obviously used to it. Yunjiao, there's something you like to eat today. I specially asked the kitchen to add another dish. As she spoke, she turned around and saw that the dishes on the table were not what she had ordered. Her expression instantly turned sour. Auntie, didn't I say that I wanted to add a dish of stir-fried fish tonight? Jing Yunjiao knew how to cook all kinds of complicated dishes. She often ate with Suchu and Ganjinchen. Even though Jing Yunjiao's dishes were complicated, she liked light dishes. If it was meat, she could accept fish slices the most. The person Xiao Haiqing called was the housekeeper. The housekeeper was stunned and looked at her. The fish market closed early today. There's no fresh fish left. Moreover, Junjun is hungry. It takes a lot of effort to make fish slices. Waste time? Xiao Haiqing smiled. It was just a plate of fish slices. How much effort could it take? Haiqing, don't blame Sister Wang. The beautiful woman at the side said softly. She looked at Jing Yunjiao and said, Student, I'm sorry. It's just that the timing is a little untimely. It's not easy to prepare. Don't say it's not easy. I told her in the afternoon. Xiao Haiqing was angry. If it was any other time, it would have been fine. However, it was Yun Zhao's first time here, and there wasn't even a dish she liked. She clearly asked Auntie Wang to make lighter dishes, but the table was full of oily dishes. Auntie Wang was obviously not afraid of her. Miss Haiqing, don't say that. I heard that you have a classmate coming, so I've been busy since noon. These are all main dishes. In the end, there was only a plate of fish slices left. That's right, Haiqing. With so many dishes, it's quite thoughtful, isn't it? The woman asked. As he spoke, he walked in front of Jing Yunjiao. Your two classmates are really good-looking. Old Xiao, take a look. They're even prettier than our Haiqing. Especially this little classmate. One look, and you can tell she's very obedient. Of course, he was referring to Ji Shanshan. On the surface, Ji Shanshan looked like a docile little sister next door. It was a pity that one couldn't judge a book by its cover. Ji Shanshan was a straightforward person. After being scolded by Xiao Haiqing, her stepmother, she said, Auntie, I'm not as pretty as Xiao Haiqing. I know that. You don't need to comfort me. Jing Yunjiao couldn't help but find it funny. The next moment, Ji Shanshan continued, Xiao Haiqing is so good-looking. If you ask me, I'd say that she's no different from those rich young ladies. Genes are really important. As soon as she said that, not only Jing Yunjiao, but even Xiao Haiqing herself was amused. She had the genes of the Xiao family in her. However, these genes were partly from her father and partly from her deceased mother. She just didn't have her stepmother's genes. Xiao Haiqing's stepmother's surname was Jiang. She was quite good-looking, but she was a little stingy and narrow-minded. After Ji Shanshan said that, her face stiffened for a moment. Yes, Haiqing's genes are good. All right, let's sit down and eat. Xiao Haiqing pursed her lips and smiled. Xiao Daoan, the head of the family, didn't say anything from beginning to end. He was already sitting at the head of the table. Haiqing, your classmate is from Huaning County, right? What does her family do? Auntie Jiang asked again at the dining table. Chapter 374. This stepmother looked really kind, smiling from the beginning to the end. She was especially polite to Xiao Haiqing. However, if they were really a family, then she probably shouldn't treat them with such a polite attitude. When the stepmother asked, Xiao Daoan also looked over. Jing Yunjiao didn't need Xiao Haiqing to speak for her. She said, I'm an orphan. My parents are unknown. Then, how are you going to support yourself? Auntie Jiang was shocked. Then, she looked at Xiao Haiqing and smiled. Our Haiqing values friendship. It's okay. I'll give you more pocket money later. It was impossible not to think too much about what she said. However, she didn't say it directly. She even looked gratified, and no one could find any fault with it. Xiao Daoan frowned. Their Xiao family wasn't considered a big family, but they were lucky to have climbed up a big tree. However, it wasn't to the point where Xiao Haiqing could give away her wealth as she pleased. He didn't object to helping a classmate, but he understood the principle of saving the needy and not the poor. This classmate's parents were unknown, and she definitely didn't have the ability to support herself. He was afraid that he would have to give her money all the time, right? As the saying goes, if you raise the rice, you raise the rice, and if you raise the rice, you raise the hatred. It was okay to do good deeds, but don't raise trouble. Not everyone knew Jing Yunjiao. For example, the two people in front of them didn't know who Jing Yunjiao was at all. Xiao Haiqing's face turned even uglier. What do you mean? What's wrong? Auntie Jiang looked innocent. What's wrong? Don't talk nonsense in front of Yunjiao. She has the ability to earn money, and it's not my turn to help her. Don't beat around the bush. Xiao Haiqing said coldly. In the past, she couldn't understand what this aunt was saying. However, as time passed and she slowly grew up, she finally understood why her father treated her worse and worse. When the same thing came out of Annie Zhang's mouth, it was different from other people's. It would make people misunderstand. The more she explained, the worse it would be. Ji Shanshan only felt that those words were strange, but after being reminded by Xiao Haiqing, she immediately reacted and laughed. Jing Yunjiao is so amazing. He doesn't need other people's sympathy and help at all. Wasn't there a self-righteous white lotus before? Halfway through her words, everyone turned to look at her. Ji Shanshan was stunned. She looked at Jing Yunjiao. Did I say something wrong? That's right. Didn't Sun Yin claim to be your benefactor a few days ago and come looking for trouble? I hate people who spout nonsense like this the most. You didn't take their money, so why do you need them to put on an act? Ji Shanshan only understood half of it. It was impossible to say that she was completely ignorant. But the most worrisome thing was that his IQ had been raised by half. These words directly determined that Auntie Jiang was self-righteous. Jing Yunjiao suddenly felt that being an idiot was quite useful sometimes, especially when it came to Ji Shanshan. Her face was full of righteousness, and whoever denied her words might get angry with her. There was nothing they could do about it. Annie Zhang's smile froze, and she laughed dryly. You rely on yourself? When Xiao Daoan heard that, he asked curiously. He then said, that's quite rare. What do you usually rely on to earn money? Can you afford your school fees? My school fees are all waived, and I also have a scholarship, Jing Yunjiao said directly. After saying that, Xiao Daoan was stunned and astonished. It was because he had never thought that his daughter would make friends with good students. In his impression, his daughter's classmates were all bad students, and his own grades were also very bad. So that's how it is. It's quite rare that you and Haiqing can be friends. Xiao Daoan's attitude became better as he smiled. Jing Yunjiao looked at him with a strange expression. Uncle Xiao, is this very rare? Our class's grades are all in the top 50 of the school, and Haiqing is not bad. Chapter 375. When Jing Yunjiao saw Xiao Daoan's reaction, he knew that he didn't know anything about his daughter, so he clarified for Xiao Haiqing. Without waiting for Xiao Daoan to speak, Jing Yunjiao chuckled and said, Haiqing's results aren't very stable. Sometimes she's in the 30s, but sometimes she can make it to the top 5 in the class. A few days ago, she even represented us in a citywide competition and won the 3rd prize. Jing Yunjiao wasn't lying. Although Xiao Haiqing looked unrestrained on the surface, her results were actually quite good. She was smart, learned things quickly, and had good logical thinking. Once she got serious, her results would shoot up like a rocket. Being in the 30s in the class meant that she was the same name in the whole school. Xiao Daoan was surprised and felt that his daughter was a little unfamiliar. Was Jing Yunjiao really talking about his daughter? Wasn't his daughter a delinquent girl who only knew how to ask for money from her family and go out to play with her friends? Xiao Daoan was suddenly speechless and didn't know what to say. He only saw that Xiao Haiqing was still sitting there and eating, as if the person Jing Yunjiao was talking about wasn't her. Why don't you mention such a good thing more often? Xiao Daoan smiled and said to Xiao Haiqing. Xiao Haiqing raised her eyebrows and said, I've said it before. Every time I want to show you the test paper, Auntie will rush over and say that I did my best. Then, you'll scold me and say that I'm a useless piece of trash who won't have any future prospects. You said that even when I did this, what else can I do? After saying that, she snorted and rolled her eyes. A long time ago, she also wanted to mend her relationship with her family, so she dutifully studied. That time, her results were quite good, and she rushed back excitedly to ask her father to sign for her. Who knew that before she could say how many marks she got, Auntie Jiang would start to speak for her. In an instant, her father's attitude couldn't be controlled. He scolded her fiercely and almost hit her. Since then, she was too lazy to pay attention to her grades. If she was in a good mood, she would study. If she was in a bad mood, she would play. Anyway, no one cared. It wasn't until he sat at the same table as Jing Yunjiao and saw how serious she was every day, as if she was risking her life for 13th Wang, that he decided to follow suit. Later on, he wanted to be in the same class as Jing Yunjiao, so he had to maintain the school's top 50 grades. Only then did things slowly stabilize. Xiao Haiqing's words caused Xiao Daoan's face to twitch. He couldn't remember anything about his daughter receiving her report card. He only remembered that every time she entered the house, she would quarrel with Jiang Rong. Jiang Rong was obviously tolerant of her, but she still wasn't satisfied. Did that mean he had misunderstood? I didn't know that Hai Qing's results were so good. It's all my fault. It's all my fault. I was thinking that Hai Qing didn't do very well in the past, and was afraid that you would be angry after seeing the results. I didn't think that I would make a mistake, Jiang Rong said. After she finished speaking, she picked up some food for Xiao Haiqing and said with a fawning expression, Haiqing, I made a mistake out of good intentions. You have to forgive me. Jiang Rong wasn't old. She was only 27 or 28 years old, so her face was still very young. In addition, her voice was soft and gentle, so it was hard to dislike her. Xiao Daoan originally blamed her, but when he heard her admit her mistake, the dissatisfaction in his heart disappeared. We wrongly blamed you for this. Your Annie had good intentions. If it weren't for your bad grades and always messing around, you wouldn't be like this, right? Chapter 376. Xiao Daoan had just said it casually. He had never thought of apologizing to his daughter. After all, he was an elder. Moreover, his relationship with Xiao Haiqing had been tense for the past few years. To be able to say this now, in his opinion, he had already lowered his head to the greatest extent. However, Xiao Haiqing snorted softly when she heard it. It was her fault that her grades were bad. Now that her grades were good, was it still her fault? Was it because she had made a mistake when she was young, so no matter what she did in the future, she would have to settle old scores with her? However, she didn't want to bother about it. No matter what, her father wouldn't blame Jiang Rong for her. In his own words, Jiang Rong was still young when she married him. Moreover, she was pregnant before marriage and was criticized. Therefore, after marriage, her father had to give her the best in everything. Moreover, Jiang Rong was much younger than her father, so her father couldn't even bear to scold her. Xiao Haiqing lowered her head and ate her food. She felt wronged, but she didn't say a word. Jing Yunzhao frowned slightly, somewhat dissatisfied. However, this was Haiqing's family matter. If she rashly argued on her behalf, not only would she not be able to help her, she might even lose her status in the family. Moreover, she really couldn't handle matters before her parent-child relationship. However, Ji Shanshan was different. Seeing Xiao Haiqing's bullied expression, she said, Uncle Xiao, you and my father are about the same age, but the difference is huge. Oh? What do you mean? Xiao Daoan was in a rare good mood, so he didn't think much about it and asked, When I was young, my father said that I was his precious treasure, his flesh and blood. If anyone dared to bully me, he would fight back for me even if it meant risking his life. In our family, even my brother can't say anything bad about me. Once my father did something wrong to me, he had to be careful for a few days. He had to apologize to me every day, and even wrote a self-reflection letter, Ji Shanshan said with a raised eyebrow. When Xiao Daoan heard this, he was stunned. This girl's meaning was too obvious. Was she saying that he was unreasonable? However, this was too outrageous. What kind of rule was it for an elder to apologize to a junior? If that was the case, who knew how much the child would be spoiled? Xiao Daoan snorted lightly. Seniors should act like seniors. Lowering your head to juniors, wouldn't that be a mess? How stubborn. What era is this? Could it be that girls were expected to follow the 3 obediences and 4 virtues like they did hundreds of years ago? Juniors can apologize if they're wrong, but why can't seniors do the same? They only know how to shirk responsibility. What's the difference between that and a coward? Ji Shanshan put down her chopsticks and looked at Jiang Rong. Annie Jiang, you're the one who's weird. Why do you always think that Xiao Haiqing is bad? Jing Yunzhao smirked. Annie Jiang, I'll be honest with you, but I hope you don't like what you hear. You seem to really love and care for Haiqing, caring and protecting her in every way, but how come you don't even know her grades? Usually, Uncle Xiao is busy and not at home, but you are. Don't tell me you didn't ask? Jiang Rong's face stiffened. I did ask, but Haiqing refused to tell me. The school has parents' phone numbers. Isn't there a notification after every exam? Jing Yunzhao said casually. When he said that, Jiang Rong instantly panicked. The county's #1 middle school was the best school in the whole of Huaning County. They were serious and responsible. Every student in the class would definitely notify their parents if they improved or regressed. Zhang Rong said that Xiao Haiqing refused to tell her. That was nonsense. Old Xiao, maybe I didn't get a call from the school, Zhang Rong said with a panicked face. Chapter 377. Jing Yunzhao didn't continue to speak, instead revealing a meaningful smile. Ji Shan smacked her lips and picked up a large piece of meat and placed it in her bowl. She ate with satisfaction, but Xiao Daoan didn't feel good. Did the school inform the parents of the students' results? He thought about it and shook his head. He didn't receive any. Every time he said he wanted to go to the school to see Xiao Haiqing, Zhang Rong would stop him, saying that he couldn't pressure the child. He was also a father. It was impossible to say that he didn't care about Haiqing. After all, she was his first wife's daughter. Moreover, her mother had passed away, so he wanted to dote on her more. But Xiao Haiqing was too stubborn. Whenever they met, they would either quarrel or scold each other. After a long time, he was completely disappointed in this daughter of his and didn't want to care too much. Anyway, with Zhang Rong around, she wouldn't lack food and clothes. When she graduated from university, he would find a suitable man for her to marry and have children. Maybe her temper would improve. That was what he had been thinking all along. But now, he was suddenly told that Xiao Haiqing was a good student? And Zhang Rong, Xiao Daoan looked at Zhang Rong with some doubt. She wasn't Xiao Haiqing's biological mother, but her attitude had always been better than her biological mother's. But if that was the case, how could she not know about Xiao Haiqing's results? Did she not want to know? Or did she know but not tell him? At this moment, Zhang Rong felt Xiao Daoan's questioning gaze and felt a little uneasy. All these years, she had been doing well. At least in front of her husband, she acted like a loving mother. But Xiao Haiqing wasn't born from her womb, and this girl had a bad temper. Unless her brain was damaged, she wouldn't really treat her as her biological daughter. So every time she saw Xiao Haiqing, she had to suppress the disgust in her heart and give her the warmest smile. She didn't like her husband being too close to this stepdaughter, so sometimes she would do some little things. Of course, the effect was getting better and better. Slowly, it made her feel that there were only 3 people in their family. Although she knew that her husband always missed this daughter, as long as Xiao Haiqing continued to disappoint him, sooner or later, he would pretend that this daughter didn't exist. But he didn't expect Xiao Haiqing to know how to get help. These 2 brats, who came out of nowhere, actually dared to give her husband an ideological and political lesson. Old Xiao, Zhang Rong cried out in grievance, her eyes red. It's all my fault. You know that Junjun is being naughty now, and I have to follow him every day to take care of him, so sometimes I can't pick up the phone. I'll be more careful next time. With his young wife apologizing pitifully, what else could Xiao Daoan say? Looking at his son who was sitting next to his wife, all of Xiao Daoan's suspicions disappeared. Don't keep an eye on Junjun in the future. Pay more attention to Haiqing. Xiao Daoan said simply, then looked at Xiao Haiqing and said, Haiqing, your results are so good. Daddy is happy too. Later, I'll let you go to your Annie Jiang to get a reward of 1,000 yuan. If you want to buy anything, just go and take a look. But you can't be arrogant. You have to work hard to maintain your good grades. When you enter a key university in the future, Dad will buy you whatever you want. As a father, he also felt proud that his daughter's grades were good. Moreover, he felt that he had not let down his deceased wife. Chapter 378. Xiao Haiqing's face didn't show any surprise. She simply said, "Got it." Seeing his daughter's nonchalant reply, Xiao Daoan felt a little awkward. He was dissatisfied with Xiao Haiqing's attitude, but at the same time, he felt a little apologetic about not caring enough for her. After some thought, Xiao Daoan suddenly said, "Dad has a membership card for the horse ranch. Tomorrow, you and your classmates will come with me to take a look." When Zhang Rong heard that, her eyes flashed with dissatisfaction. The ranch her husband was talking about was considered an aristocratic ranch. The people who went there were either rich or respectable. Even if a normal person could afford it, they wouldn't be allowed in without a membership card. In the morning, her husband had told her that he would bring her and Junjun there tomorrow. Now, in the blink of an eye, Xiao Haiqing had taken advantage of this. Rong, I'll accompany you next time, Xiao Daoan said again. Zhang Rong's dissatisfaction was completely blocked. There was no room for rebuttal. But when the little boy heard about horses, he pouted. Dad, I want to watch the horses. I want to go riding too. Xiao Daoan was a little helpless. Dad will definitely let you go next time. Junjun, be good. Although he had a membership card, it wouldn't look good if he brought too many people there at once. Moreover, he was going there to interact with some old people in business. The adult area and the underage area were separated. If he brought Xiao Jun there, who would look after him when he turned around? Haiqing, that definitely wouldn't do. When Xiao Jun heard that he was excluded, he immediately started to cry. His mouth was still stuffed with food. Instantly, his tears and snot mixed together. His originally cute face suddenly became somewhat unappetizing. I hate you. It's all because of you that Dad doesn't want me anymore. I don't care. I want to go riding. I want to go. Just as he was crying, Xiao Jun suddenly stopped and fell to the ground. His face was purple, his eyes were wide open, his hands were clawing wildly, and his whole body was twitching. Seeing his reaction, everyone panicked. Zhang Rong pressed down on Xiao Jun like a madwoman. Junjun, what's wrong with you? Jing Yunjiao went forward and immediately pushed Zhang Rong away. Haiqing, don't let her block me. With that, Xiao Haiqing pulled Zhang Rong aside. Jing Yunjiao placed him down and hurriedly cleaned up the food in his mouth. However, because Xiao Jun's current situation was rather complicated, his teeth were tightly shut. Helpless, Jing Yunjiao could only pry open his mouth, and his actions could not be considered gentle. After this thing was cleaned up, Xiao Jun's condition was still not good. Xiao Daoan had already called for an ambulance at the first moment. However, this emergency treatment for choking was a race against time, and Jing Yunjiao could not wait. In the next second, Jing Yunjiao directly pulled over a stool next to him and placed his abdomen on it. His upper body was suspended in the air, and he suddenly pressed down on his back. Instantly, a lump of food was seen on the ground. Jing Yunjiao heaved a sigh of relief. Zhang Rong was already crying and scolding at the side. Where was the calm and gentle appearance from before? Especially when she saw Jing Yunjiao fiercely pressing Xiao Jun's waist and back. She was even more anxious and angry. Xiao Haiqing, you shameless brat. It's all your fault for harming my Junjun. Tell her to scram. After Jing Yunjiao finished everything, he could still hear Zhang Rong's hysterical voice. Although Ji Shanshan did not know what was going on, she still held on to Xiao Daoan and refused to let go. All right, Jing Yunjiao stood up, his hands still stained with some dirt. He raised his eyebrows and said softly, Chapter 379. Hearing that, Xiao Haiqing felt relieved. Go wash your hands first. Jing Yunjiao nodded. At this time, Xiao Jun had regained consciousness. Seeing that, Zhang Rong hurriedly rushed up to hug him and cried nonstop. Xiao Daoan was both scared and shocked, having mixed feelings for a moment. When Jing Yunjiao came back after washing his hands, the ambulance hadn't arrived yet. However, in this situation, if she didn't do anything, it would be useless even if the ambulance came. It was very dangerous for a child to choke. If the blockage wasn't removed within 4 minutes, Xiao Jun would most likely die from suffocation today. Xiao Haiqing, tell her to scram. All of you scram. Zhang Rong was sobbing, scolding Jing Yunjiao as soon as she saw her. Jing Yunjiao snorted. You don't know how to bite the hand that feeds you. If it weren't for the fact that the child is innocent, then he deserves to choke to death with a mother like you. When Xiao Jun was eating, he didn't follow any rules at all. It was as if everyone at the table was fighting for food with him, stuffing his mouth full and stuffing his mouth until he couldn't even speak clearly, yet he was still wailing and howling. Zhang Rong had been a mother for a few years, so it was impossible for her not to know that the possibility of choking was very high. However, at that time, her mind was occupied by the fact that Xiao Haiqing was going to the race course, and she even allowed her son to cry and make a fuss. Who was to blame in such a situation? Hearing Jing Yunjiao's words, Xiao Daoan also came back to his senses. Then you patted his back just now too. Using the gas in a person's body to flush out the blockage. Did you think I was going to kill someone? Jing Yunjiao only found it laughable. Xiao Daoan's expression was complicated. However, the ambulance hadn't arrived yet, so he wasn't clear about the situation. So he wasn't in a hurry to apologize to Jing Yunjiao. After a while, the ambulance arrived, and Xiao Daoan and his wife brought the child to the hospital. At home, only a mess was left. Thank you for your hard work, Xiao Haiqing still said. Jing Yunjiao's lips curled. I didn't do it for your brother. I know. Xiao Haiqing understood very well. Just now, Xiao Jun was crying and throwing a tantrum. If something really happened, regardless of whether it was her fault or not, it would be pushed to her in the end. At that time, she would not be able to defend herself. Ji Shanshan was also shocked by the series of events. You can cure diseases? She suddenly admired Jing Yunjiao. What should she do? It's all thanks to you. Otherwise, we would have been kicked out. But then again, why is that Auntie Jiang so annoying? You saved her son, but she still scolded you like a bitch. But if I had known you had this skill, I would have helped Xiao Haiqing scold them back then. Ji Shanshan pursed her lips and huffed angrily. Jing Yunjiao smiled, and Xiao Haiqing also shook her head. The three of them had lost their appetite and went upstairs. A few hours later, the family of three came back. Naturally, the doctor had seen them. Because the emergency treatment was timely, there were no problems. However, Xiao Jun was a little frightened and was now asleep. Once they entered, Xiao Daoan didn't see Xiao Haiqing. He looked a little disappointed. He glanced at Zhang Rong and said, Go upstairs and apologize to them. At that time, the situation was urgent. Although he heard Zhang Rong scolding Xiao Haiqing, he couldn't argue with her. However, Zhang Rong's reaction at that time really gave him a fright. Because in his impression, no matter what happened, Zhang Rong would speak gently to Xiao Haiqing and never scold her. Moreover, she was a well-educated woman. Even if she scolded her, she shouldn't be like a shrew. Chapter 380. Embarrassment and regret flashed across Zhang Rong's face. At that time, she was really too anxious. When she saw the girl being violent towards her son, she couldn't hold back her anger. She didn't expect that the girl was actually trying to save her son, but she couldn't be blamed for this. Jing Yunjiao was about the same age as Xiao Haiqing. He looked like a normal person. Who knew that she would react so quickly? But thinking about it, she was still a little scared. The doctor also said that fortunately, the emergency treatment was accurate and fast. Otherwise, her son would have been in more danger. However, although she was grateful, she couldn't help but blame them at the same time. Since they were trying to save him, they should have just said it. Would she have stopped them? Moreover, she went to save him without saying a word. What if she didn't save him? What if she made a mistake? Was her son's life not a life? If a little girl like her could do it, she and her husband could do it too. Zhang Rong sighed bitterly and sent Xiao Jun back to his room. Then, she slowly went upstairs. Upstairs, she could still hear the sounds of the three girls fooling around. She felt even more stifled in her heart. Jing Yunjiao had already heard the commotion, but he didn't say anything. He vaguely felt that Zhang Rong had been outside for 2 or 3 minutes before she knocked on the door. Haiqing, Auntie is here to apologize to you. I'm really sorry about what happened just now. I only said the wrong thing in a moment of panic. Please don't blame me. Zhang Rong's voice sounded faintly. The three of them paused. Ji Shanshan rolled her eyes. You scared me to death. I trembled when I heard that voice. Just now, someone told us to get lost. It was like a lion roaring from the east. My heart is still thumping. When I go back, I must drink some tea to calm myself down. Ji Shanshan purposely said it loudly. When Zhang Rong heard it, she was furious. Jing Yunjiao also said, Haiqing, I'm treating your son. The consultation fee isn't low. Don't tell me that no one in your family is prepared to pay. But thinking about it, it's reasonable that they don't pay. After all, they might think that I'm taking the opportunity to swindle you. They might even say that you're trying to help a poor classmate like me. After saying that, Zhang Rong was so angry that her teeth were chattering. Consultation fee? What kind of joke was this? A little brat like a blind cat running into a dead mouse had the nerve to ask for a consultation fee? Who did she think she was? Godly doctor. Xiao Haiqing loved the two lucky stars in front of her. When had she ever seen Jiang Rong so cowardly? In the past, she was young and beautiful, and she even gave birth to a son for her father. Every day, she would whisper pillow talk in front of her father. Now, she had revealed her true colors. Haiqing, Auntie knows she was wrong. It's only right for you to blame me. I don't dare, Auntie Jiang. You are our family's hero. How can we blame you? Also, as long as you don't complain in front of my dad, then we'll thank the heavens and earth. Xiao Haiqing said smugly. I didn't. I don't know if you have, but Xiao Haiqing gave Jing Yunzhao and Ji Shan a look before opening the door. She took out all the things that she had previously wrapped up, walked past Jiang Rong, and went down the stairs with a bang bang bang. She directly placed them in front of Xiao Dao and in the hall. Dad, don't make Auntie apologize to me. I can't accept it. Xiao Haiqing raised her eyebrows and continued. These were all arranged by Auntie. She told me to get lost, and I couldn't not listen. So, I'm going to take these things and wander the world. I wish you good health and a long life with Auntie Jiang. When I'm not around, I believe Auntie won't think that I'm bad or say bad things about me and protect me against her will, right? Chapter 381. Xiao Haiqing wanted to pretend to be obedient like Jiang Rong, but being obedient wasn't her nature. Besides, she could pretend for a while, but not for a lifetime. She would never be able to compete with Jiang Rong. She didn't have the chance to be arrogant in the past, but now that Jing Yunzhao was their precious son, her father wouldn't get angry with her at this time. Since that was the case, she could say those words openly. Did Jiang Rong still want to stop her? Did she have the right to do so today? In front of her father, those who made a mistake had no right to refute. Wasn't she like this in the past? Haiqing, don't mess around. Your Auntie Jiang is in the wrong this time. She has already apologized to you. Xiao Daoan frowned, feeling helpless. She was in the wrong first, so she shouldn't have lost her temper. Xiao Haiqing shook her head and took out more than a dozen books from the big bag wrapped in the bedsheets. She stuffed them into Xiao Daoan's hands. How to Cultivate a Socialite is a classic. After learning it, you'll benefit a lot. I suggest that Auntie read it a few more times. These are all things that Auntie prepared for me, but I feel that she needs to be reforged even more now. Today, she's yelling at my classmate, Junjun's savior. Next time, she'll be able to do the same to your client, right? Also, I don't like any of these things. So much red doesn't suit me at all. It's a pity that I told Auntie Jiang, but it was useless. Later, she said in front of you that I'm hard to serve, so there's no other way. Since I'm leaving home, it's better to bring her heart with me. Jiang Rong followed her downstairs. Hearing these words, she was so angry that she wanted to vomit blood. Xiao Daoan looked at the pink things on the floor and couldn't help but have a headache. What were these? Clothes, bedsheets, plush toys? His daughter used these? And Jiang Rong prepared them? To be honest, Xiao Daoan didn't even enter his daughter's house. This house was on the 3rd floor. After buying it, everything was arranged by Jiang Rong. He trusted Jiang Rong, so he didn't ask. When they first moved in, Xiao Haiqing was smashing things in the house. Jiang Rong cried in front of him, saying that the things she prepared with good intentions were ruined. He thought that the things she prepared were what Haiqing liked, but it turned out to be these? No, old Xiao. Didn't I tell you that I want to have a daughter too? I want to give the best to my daughter, so I chose these for her. After all, she's a girl. Jiang Rong said immediately. Xiao Haiqing nodded seriously. That's right, that's right. Auntie Jiang definitely didn't do it on purpose. But Dad, isn't it enough for you to have me as your daughter? Do you want to have another one? Xiao Haiqing's eyes were clear as she asked calmly. Xiao Daoan's heart skipped a beat, and a feeling of guilt instantly arose in his heart. That's not true. Isn't it enough that Daddy has a debt collector like you? Xiao Daoan sighed helplessly. Wasn't he a debt collector? Ever since her mother passed away, the two of them hadn't had a proper conversation. They would quarrel every 3 sentences. During their time in Huaning County, there weren't many opportunities for them to meet. She had been hiding in her mother's house and would only go back occasionally. Xiao Haiqing's nose turned sour. I also don't want to be Daddy's debt collector. My mother used to say that I was your lover in your previous life and that I was here to fight for your favor. But after she left, I didn't even have the right to fight for your favor. Dad, just tell me, is this still my house? Do I have to scram just because Auntie Jiang told me to? Is everything she says right in this house? Chapter 382. Xiao Haiqing was usually very capable, but no matter how capable she was still a little girl. There was no reason for her not to yearn for her father's love and protection. Her words directly crushed the guilt in Xiao Daoan's heart until it was utterly defeated. In the past, he didn't have a chance to talk to his daughter. All these years, she was like a hedgehog. Once he touched her, she would prick his family until they were covered in bruises. Every time he saw his daughter, he felt a sense of defeat. His business was smooth sailing, but when it came to Haiqing, he couldn't do anything about it. She was always wrong, and even so, she was so self-righteous. But when he thought of this, Xiao Daoan suddenly froze. Did she do something wrong today? It seemed like she didn't, but after so many years, it was already a habit to think that Xiao Haiqing was wrong. Xiao Daoan's eyes darkened. He didn't know if he was lying to himself or to Xiao Haiqing. He said, "Your Auntie Jiang listens to everything you say. Are you sure she listens to everything she says? When I called to say that I was going home, she said that you've been tired recently and advised me to wait a few days to avoid conflict. Once I'm back, if I quarrel with you, she would say in front of you that I'm stubborn and disobedient. I haven't done anything wrong, but the moment she saw me, she told you to calm down and to be calm. Even before I said anything, she started to protect me. Whenever I felt that it was strange and started to scold her, you would look like you were going to chase me out of the house. Dad, is she protecting me, or does she want to see the world in chaos? Someone who only knows how to apologize for me, even if I'm not wrong. Is she really good to me?" Xiao Haiqing sighed and said everything in her heart. She had said it before, but her attitude was different back then. Back then, her father didn't believe her at all. Most of the time, when they quarreled, she would shout that Zhang Rong was up to no good. Under those circumstances, her father naturally didn't believe her at all and even thought that she was heartless. She was not stupid. In fact, there were many things that she could understand. It was just that when it fell on the heads of outsiders, she could handle it with a very calm attitude. However, once she became an insider, it was different. Because she cared about her father, she couldn't play tricks against Zhang Rong, which meant that she had already lost. Today, it was just an opportunity. Her father knew that she had good grades and that she was not a delinquent girl who only knew how to eat, drink, and play. Zhang Rong suddenly scolded her, and she was no longer a gentle woman. That was why her words carried a little weight. Xiao Daoan's feelings were really complicated now. In this family, if one were to talk about black and white, then in the past, Zhang Rong was white, and Xiao Haiqing was black. But now, it was the complete opposite. He pursed his lips and saw Zhang Rong crying behind him. When she saw him looking over, her body trembled and she muttered, "It's all my fault." Xiao Daoan didn't look too good. She looked at the item on the table and suddenly said, "Sister Wang, take all these bed sheets and toys out and throw them away." After saying that, she took out a supplementary card. "Tomorrow, accompany Dad to the horse farm. The day after tomorrow, buy some things that you like. As for the matter of transferring schools, can you choose for yourself? But Dad hopes that you will stay in Ning City. I will send you to the best school." Previously, he didn't know that his daughter's grades were good, so he thought that going to Mingyang High School was not a bad idea. At least, he could get to know some people with good status and broaden his horizons and social circle. But now, it was different. His daughter had the ability to enter a key university. Of course, he still hoped that she could rely on herself in the future and come back to help him handle the family business. Chapter 383. Hearing Xiao Daoan's words, Zhang Rong shuddered. She knew that her years of hard work were all for naught. She should have thought of it earlier. Xiao Haiqing had grown up. She was not as easy to control and anger as before. She was now like a bomb. It was time to explode. Xiao Haiqing was overjoyed. She didn't expect her father to suddenly become so easy to talk to. She was even prepared to be scolded by her father again. Who knew that he would side with her? Dad. Xiao Haiqing was at a loss. You're not scolding me anymore? Stupid girl. Xiao Daoan didn't know whether to laugh or cry. You're my daughter, not my enemy. Do you think I'm so happy to hit and scold you? As long as you're obedient, I can't be happier. He had imagined his daughter to be a scoundrel. She hung out with hooligans every day, beat up her classmates, and committed all kinds of crimes. But now, he suddenly realized that it wasn't like that at all. Naturally, he was pleasantly surprised. If he still hit and scolded her, then he must have had nothing better to do. Xiao Haiqing hadn't heard her father's gentle voice for a few years. She didn't know how to react and suddenly burst into tears. She didn't cry as loudly as Ji Shanshan. Instead, she stood there in a daze. She didn't make a sound, but her tears just wouldn't stop. It was heartbreaking and unbearable. Xiao Daoan was shocked. In his impression, he hadn't seen his daughter so fragile in a long time. Ever since her grandfather passed away, she seemed to have stopped crying. There was once when he hit her with a stick, and his hands were numb from the shock. But Haiqing still gritted her teeth and glared at him, not shedding tears. Sometimes, he even wondered if this daughter of his had reincarnated into the wrong body. She should be a boy instead. But now, his daughter was still his daughter. Dad, you're not such a scoundrel. Xiao Haiqing wiped her tears and huffed softly. Xiao Daoan's mouth twitched. He reached out and patted his daughter's head. He was surprised to find that he hadn't done this for a few years. His daughter really did seem to have grown a lot taller. Don't cry. Your classmates are still here. Aren't you afraid of embarrassing yourself? Xiao Daoan shook his head, yet his heart softened for some reason. Zhang Rong stood in place, watching the father and son sitting on the sofa. The atmosphere suddenly became very harmonious, and for a moment, she felt a little uneasy. She was afraid that this would happen. She was afraid that the father and daughter would stand on the same side and make her seem like an outsider. Sure enough, it was still like this. But why? If it wasn't for her, how could the Xiao family be so successful now? It was because of her maternal family's financial support that Xiao Daoan's business was getting better and better. Now, what right did he have to exclude her? Zhang Rong bit her lip. Old Xiao. Xiao Daoan raised his head and glanced at her. He couldn't tell what he was feeling. He was a little disappointed and also a little unable to accept it. I didn't do it on purpose, Zhang Rong said. Xiao Daoan sighed and nodded. Got it. Go take a look at Junjun. Haiqing, if you have any problems in the future, just tell Dad directly. As long as you don't do anything bad, Dad won't get angry with you. At the end of the day, she was still his wife. No matter how bad this woman was, she was still the woman who had grown up with him when he had nothing. If she made a mistake, he could tolerate it, but he couldn't continue to make the mistake. Xiao Haiqing also knew that she had a place in her father's heart, but so did Zhang Rong, not to mention Xiao Jun. Okay, Dad. Then I still have to go back to Huaning. Xiao Haiqing said directly, then hurriedly added, I'm not being playful. My grades are good now because I'm deskmate with Yun Zhao. If it were someone else, I guarantee that my grades would drop. If you're still worried, I can send my results home for you to check after every exam. Is that okay? Chapter 384. Xiao Haiqing struck while the iron was hot, afraid that her father would be the same as before. Xiao Dao and was stunned for a moment. He glanced at Jing Yunzhao and suddenly understood. This girl was so quiet that it was unbelievable. Her grades were good, and she was also steady. She indeed had an infectious aura around her. It was no wonder that his daughter liked to stay with her. Fortunately, she wasn't a boy. That wasn't bad. I'll listen to you. I'll get someone to reapply for a transfer later, Xiao Daoan said. When Xiao Haiqing heard that, she grinned and raised her head to kiss Xiao Daoan's face. She felt so good. Thank you, Dad. Xiao Daoan's face stiffened. A long-lost feeling welled up in his heart, but he couldn't show it in front of the girls. His expression was very strange. Jing Yunzhao pretended not to see it and pursed her lips into a smile. Ji Shanshan, on the other hand, laughed loudly. The atmosphere in the living room was relaxed and harmonious. A crack appeared in the room on the second floor. Zhang Rong, who was in the room, heard the sound, and her face darkened. That night, Xiao Haiqing was in an extremely good mood. She chatted with Jing Yunjiao for almost the entire night. Jing Yunjiao had never seen Xiao Haiqing lose her sense of propriety like this. She was brimming with sunshine and youth, as if she had received the best thing in the world. Her entire person had changed. She was really too easy to satisfy. She knew that Zhang Rong would still hang around her in the future, but she was still so excited and happy. What she cared about was Xiao Daoan's attitude, right? Jing Yunjiao suddenly felt a little envious. Until now, she had never been so happy because of a person's change of opinion. Those classmates of hers used to glare at her angrily. Although they were much gentler now, she only felt that it was okay. Although Old Master Su's praise made her happy every time, it was because she was happy about her improvement in medicine. Jing Yunjiao also spent the night with her imagination running wild. The next morning, she prepared to leave for the horse ranch. Xiao Daoan was also very energetic today. He had a pleasant expression on his face, which was completely different from when they first met yesterday. Ji Shanshan, on the other hand, did not feel that there was anything wrong with it, because her father was even kinder than the current Xiao Daoan when he was in his normal state, so she adapted very well. However, Jing Yunjiao was sizing up the father and daughter duo. Xiao Daoan's eyes were filled with gratification and guilt, and he suddenly became very considerate towards Xiao Haiqing. This kind of attitude was as if he was trying to make up for his previous mistake. Although it was intentional, the father and daughter pair still got along very well, without the slightest bit of awkwardness. Was this the natural understanding between father and daughter? Although they had quarreled for a few years, they had feelings for each other after all, so it was normal. Jing Yunjiao fell into deep thought. Miss Godly Doctor, you look like a crazy stalker now. Is it fun to keep staring at them? Actually, you don't have to be envious. I feel that you will definitely have more than Xiao Haiqing in the future. Ji Shanshan suddenly grabbed her arm and said. Jing Yunjiao felt that this person was too fickle. Didn't she not wish for her to be well before? I'm not speaking without thinking. Look at you. You know medicine, you know how to make medicine. This kind of person was born to save all of humanity, okay? Your IQ is so high, and you're not ugly. Your parents must have accidentally abandoned you. It definitely wasn't intentional. Also, look at how beautiful you are. In the future, the number of men chasing after you will definitely be enough to circle the earth. No matter what you lack in the future, you will definitely not lack love. Don't worry. If I'm wrong, I will give my man to you in the future. Ji Shanshan said righteously. Chapter 385. By the time Ji Shanshan finished speaking, Jing Yunjiao was already a few meters away. He wanted her. Ji Shanshan's man? Forget it. She didn't want someone like Cui Jun. She had to stay away from this idiot in the future to avoid being infected. Jing Yunjiao walked in front, while Ji Shanshan followed behind, yelling at the top of her lungs. When they stepped into the horse farm, the staff looked at them in surprise. The horse farm was located in the suburbs, but it wasn't far from the city. It was huge and had both indoor and outdoor options. In addition to the horse farm, there was a golf course next to it. The green grass looked very comfortable. The three of them were wearing equestrian attire today. Black trousers, white shirts, and black waistcoats, looking very slim and handsome. There were 2 areas in the horse farm, so when they entered, Xiao Daoan told his daughter that he was going to meet up with his business friends. Jing Yunjiao and the others chose ponies and were led into the horse farm by the staff. The horse that Jing Yunjiao chose was completely black. It had a pair of spirited eyes that made it easy to like it at first glance. On the other hand, Xiao Haiqing chose a red pony while Ji Shanshan liked white. The 3 horses were placed side by side and looked very pleasing to the eye. It was the first time the 3 of them were riding a horse, so they were a little nervous. Under the guidance of the staff, the 3 of them got on the horses. When they left the ground, Ji Shanshan shouted, Jing Yunjiao, look, am I not handsome? Jing Yunjiao glanced at her and remained silent. It was more appropriate to say that she was embarrassed. Her whole body swayed and stuck to the horse's back. If it wasn't for someone guarding her, she would have fallen off. The horses here were relatively docile, so there was almost no chance of any accidents happening. Jing Yunjiao didn't have time to show off. She carefully got on the horse, but after learning the technique, she found that it wasn't difficult. Moreover, she knew martial arts, so she didn't have to worry about falling off. Therefore, her mental fortitude was much stronger than Xiao Haiqing and Ji Shanshan. A country bumpkin riding a horse? That's hilarious. Someone passed by Ji Shanshan and suddenly said with a smile. She was wearing a riding helmet, a fiery red shirt, a pair of white pants, and a pair of boots. She looked especially beautiful. She held the reins in her hand, and her expression was natural. Her calves squeezed the horse's belly, and she swayed leisurely. She looked confident like a princess. Ji Shanshan's temper had always been explosive, and now she was nervous. When she heard this, she immediately exploded. Who are you talking about? You're the bumpkin. TSK, and you say you're not a country bumpkin. You can't even get up while hugging the horse. The other party rolled his eyes and said, looking at your movements, it must be your first time here, right? How did you manage to enter such a grand occasion? Could it be that he had sneaked in behind someone else's ass? TSK, just by looking at your riding attire, I can tell that it's an inferior product. Hearing this, Ji Shanshan was so angry that she almost fumed. She had always cared about her reputation, not to mention that her family background was not bad. Even if it was really not good, it was not the right of an outsider to say so. Princess syndrome. So what if you're noble? We also spent money to come here. We're not inferior to you. Ji Shanshan restrained herself. After all, she came here with the Xiao family, so she didn't want to cause trouble for them. When the other party heard this, he sneered and turned to his companions. Let's hurry up. I don't want to stay with a newbie country bumpkin. You're tuning in to the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.